1. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Attack the Talk. This is your host, AJ, and today is a special episode. As you guys can see, we have a special guest, and joining me is my friend Vince. What's up, Vince?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, dude.
Good.
I'm good. I'm ready.
Awesome. And thank you so much for joining us, man. This is awesome. The reason why Vince is here is because he obviously is an AttackOnTitan fan. And I heard that we have some questions for you. I got to let people listening know that I have some questions for Vince. We're going to get to know Vince. And I think there's some pretty good questions. We're going to get some good responses,
all right.
I think. But yeah, I heard that you started watching it late, right?
Yeah.
Much like myself.
Very late.
Much like myself. But then I think very quickly you found yourself getting a little obsessed with it, you know?
Yeah, I think in like two weeks I caught up in like 5 years.
Really?
5 or 4 years of episodes.
Which, honestly, like, I kind of prefer kind of being a little late to the game because the content's all there.
Yeah.
You know, you can go ahead and binge watch it. Like, I've been on record to go ahead and say, I don't know if you've watched One Piece, but it's like one of like the longest running, anime, over thousands episodes, right? And I, for so long, was so just like no, I'm not going to watch it. I don't want to watch it because I'm like, dude, if you're going to start watching anime and you're already like 1,000 episodes, I just don't notice I keep locking you, but like, I just don't want to commit to that.
Yeah.
But then once you actually go ahead and start getting into it, it's so easy to binge because like the episodes are already all there. You don't have to go ahead and wait. So same thing, man. I was late to the Attack on Titan, game. And here I am. I have a freaking podcast, talking about it. But we'll get into the questions. But I do want to say, guys, that we're going to continue on with the story. We will be starting episode 5 of season 3. This episode's name is Reply, and we will be focused on just the first part. And this is a pretty big episode. Yeah. In terms of like big with the story, right? We know that we've been talking about the government and how they're trying to work in the shadows and they're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to pin the scouts as criminals to the general public, to the citizens of, especially the most inner wall in Walsina.
Yeah.
That's where all the royalty, all the, people who live these luxurious lives, right? That's where the capital is. And just to go and we'll do the recap right now. Where we last saw Irvin, the commander of the scouts, is he's preparing for his final judgment, for this deliberation that the king and his Order of the Walls, the council, are going to orchestrate. And so Irvin, he is literally in this room on his knees, surrounded by military police, and he just awaits his judgment.
As they're like building where they're going to hang him outside, it's like they already decided before they even...
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that, obviously the writing's on the wall when you have the government, right? They're forcing this narrative, right? They literally pin Demo Reeves, who is the merchant we see early on, where he's like the asshole merchant who's plugging up the freaking the exit, right? The one way that you can go ahead and escape into the other wall, and he just has his pretty much his whole store, his whole legacy, right? And that's when Mikasa has to go ahead and get involved and has to save their asses from a rogue titan. But when we see him, again, he's just an asshole, another asshole in the story. But then he gets assassinated by freaking Kenny.
In front of his kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In front of Flagel. And it's one of those things where we've talked about it, where Demo is one of those kind of characters who gets somewhat redemption, right? You can kind of see him, he gets those redeeming qualities where he helps the scouts in his last moments. But the government's trying to go ahead and pin the murder on the scouts, and who is obviously the leader of the scouts, the commander himself, is Irvin Smith, who's going to go ahead and get the brunt of the punishment. All the other scouts are just arresting them, right? Yeah. And they have stopped all scout activity, which is why Levi and his team are on the run.
Yeah, they're in the woods, right?
Yeah. They're in the woods. The last time we saw them was they had just captured one of the interior soldiers from like a checkpoint, and that's because they recently recruited Marlowe and Hitch. And so they're just on the run right now.
They're interrogating him too, right?
Yeah.
That's when Levi sticks his...
Yeah, he sticks his freaking boot in that soldier's mouth. And then where we last saw them was they hear two soldiers kind of like, you know, making their way to them. So they're kind of like, well, that's where they're at right now. But yeah, we're going to continue on, guys, and see what's going to happen with this deliberation. This is a big episode. And of course, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the poll results. We'll talk about the Q&A responses. You guys can expect this to be another lengthy podcast episode. You know, we usually go pretty long, 2 hours or so. So we'll see. Maybe this will be a pretty long one. But before we get into the Q&A or the poll, let's go ahead and let's ask my friend here some questions.
Better be interrogated.
Right? Yeah. So I'm going to ask Vince some questions, and for anybody listening live, our friends in chat, if you guys have any AOT related questions for Vince, go ahead and shoot, and we can go ahead and just rapid fire. We see Lovey. What's up, Lovey?
Yo.
Shout out. So first question I got for you, Vince, is please tell us what got you to start watching Attack on Titan to begin with?
If it wasn't like the immense amount of hype that it has around it, my good friend Aldo, he's really into anime. He's pretty much been like my main plug to any anime I've ever seen, and he's been preaching it for a while.
Yeah,
for like a while, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was like, it's too much, like too much commitment, and I don't know. So one day I didn't know what to watch. I just got in Hulu, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. Watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, this is cool, but it's like really slow, and like, what is it? Armin's kind of annoying. All he does is cry.
Yep.
And then stopped for like a month and a half, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go give it one more shot. Went back, and I don't know what clicked in my head. I don't know, maybe I hit it or something, but I was hooked again. Like I was so obsessed with it. I was like hooked on every detail, and I think that's another thing too. Is there's so much detail to get hooked on, and it's just like, and then like I finished season 1, and then right into season 2, it just gets more and more action packed, and then like you lose some of your favorite characters already, and it took a while, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So what's cool about it too is, like you said, when you start Attack on Titan, you get that crazy first episode, right?
Yeah.
Where it just jumps out right from the gate. But then there is like a pocket where it's like, okay, like you're gonna hit us with that, and now we're gonna get to like I get it, you know, we're gonna find out, you know, just we got to learn about the characters. They got to go through the training arc and stuff, you know, and all that. We're getting introduced to the other characters like Connie and John and Sasha and all them, right? But then you're kind of just like waiting for, all right, like when are we gonna get that action again? Yeah. You're gonna drop, you know, the Armored and Colossal right from the get-go. You're gonna go ahead and give us that moment where, like, you know, Aaron's mom, literally at that key moment, right? And I get it. That's the idea of it, is to make us want more.
Yeah.
Right? But you know, I remember too the same way. I'm like, man, like, let's get to some action. You know, like where are the Titans at?
I know, you're just watching them train and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you said one of those when you started watching it again, and you had those moments or something clicked, you know, like there's certain moments in the story, like obviously with the reveal of Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Where I remember watching with my dad for the first time, or watching with my dad and seeing him and his reactions live, right? And he kind of compared it to like Game of Thrones. I don't know if you ever seen Game of Thrones.
I've never seen it. That's another show that's like, should I do it? Should I do it?
Yeah. Well, again, it's gonna take a lot of your time, you know, but it's one of those shows where you have to push through and then allow the story to kind of develop and the characters to develop. But certain things happen in Game of Thrones, just like with Attack on Titan, that you don't expect.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet.
And one of those moments with Attack on Titan is when you see Eren die.
Oh, dude.
Right?
Crazy.
Like, you're being told that this is going to be our protagonist. This is going to be our main character, right? And then when you get to the point where they literally go on their first mission as like scouts, they have decided like, okay, they have their ceremony. They pick and choose, you know, which regiment they're going to join. They literally go on their first scout mission, and Aaron and his crew get wiped out, minus Armin, you know, because he freezes in fear. Like you said, Armin is very much like this child that needs to be coddled and needs to be protected, you know. Yeah, he's smart, but he doesn't have the confidence in himself, you know.
Yeah, I mean, not to jump too ahead, but like talk about character development.
Oh, we talked about it plenty of times here. You know, I have a question for you too that we'll get to, and I'll go ahead and I'll give you my response as well. But yeah, there's so much. That's another thing that's beautiful about Attack on Titan is that there's so much character development. Yeah. There's so many key strong characters, you know. And I remember watching some other anime and all that, and they have like their supporting characters, but then sometimes they're there just for like, you know, comedic relief, or they're there just for like, you know, a lot of times you see these you know, women characters, and it's just like fan service or whatever and stuff, you know. And what I love about Attack on Titan is that you don't get any of that. You know, when you have characters like Mikasa and Sasha, you know, Hanji, like they're all badasses.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
sick in their own way.
Yeah, and then so that's what's so cool about it. But one of those moments for me, I know that for my dad too, that clicked was as soon as I saw him watch Eren get eaten, and he goes like, "What the hell?" I knew he's invested now.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, from then on, like you said, the story now it just snowballs. It's happening so quickly, you know? Yeah. But yeah. Awesome, dude. I was the same way too, where I kind of had to force myself to go and keep watching after that first episode. But now the next question I have for you, my friend, is you talked about Armin and how he kind of annoyed you at first. So we want to ask, we would love to know who are your current favorite characters?
Dude, Levi.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Levi and Erwin, dude, the most badass fools in that show,
they are.
Dude.
Yeah.
Especially Erwin when he's just like all quiet, but like you already know in his brain, he's like 50 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Dude. And then Levi, at first I hated him because I thought he was a snob, but dude, that one episode where they're taking back Wall Rose, and he's going to fight the Beast Titan, and he's killing like every single Titan on the way there.
Yeah,
you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
and you're like, this is why I watch this show,
dude. That's when, yeah, exactly that moment where, like you said, Irvin and Levi. I mean,
power couple.
Exactly. Yeah, but then in that specific moment you're talking about, when they're trying to reclaim Aaron's home, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to reclaim Shiganshina. And I believe that is Wall. It might be Wall Maria.
And then Wall Rose.
Wall Rose is middle, and then the innermost is Wall Cena.
Yeah.
So it was Wall Maria. And then you have Irvin, who literally is trying to persuade whatever's left of the soldiers they have to go on a suicide run,
and he does it,
and they do.
And he listens.
They do it because that's, again, credit to Irvin and his ability to really hype you up, or, you know, almost like, damn, you know what, you're right, we have to do this for humanity, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have Levi, like you said, who literally he's gone rogue. Irvin has complete trust in him, and he's just mowing down the wall of Titans just to get to the Beast Titan.
And then he gets the Beast Titan. He almost has it when he does that like spiral move.
Oh,
and he like
my
cheese
gosh,
grates
dude.
his arm.
That is one of my favorite moments in Attack on Titan.
So sick. Yeah.
And because, again, like you said, the Beast Titan, when we see him, he is this like force to be reckoned with, because we've talked about on the podcast that character Mike, the one who, you know, he has good at sniffing things, you know, he's a strong character, where they say he's literally second only to Levi. But then when he comes across the Beast Titan, he becomes a shell of himself. He becomes, you know, afraid, and he dies.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, this freaking Beast Titan is legit. But then you see Levi, man. As soon as Levi gets his hands. And that's why too, where we're at right now in season 4, and seeing Levi in the state that he's in, it sucks, but you see that there's no quit in him still.
No. Like,
I also want to go ahead and mention to our friends here that are joining us. Actually, Lexi is joining us in chat, says, hi, Vince. Did you watch it in sub or dub? Question for you.
I watched it dubbed, man.
Dubbed, all right. So you want to explain why you watched it in dubbed?
Because, like, I can't concentrate on the words, and I try not to get into this argument because if you can watch it subbed, I'm very jealous of you. But I need to be watching the picture, and like I can't do both reading. Like I want to be able to catch every detail in the show.
I'm in the same exact boat as you, man. Like
Yeah.
I can't multitask with my anime. It's the same thing too. Like if I'm watching it, I need to watch it dubbed, you know, because I'll understand it more, you know, by just being able to see what's happening, you know. But like I can't even multitask by like watching multiple anime. That's the thing, man. Like if I'm watching one, I have to just kind of like focus on that one. I can't go ahead and watch one and the next day watch another and just kind of like spread out, you know, my attention and stuff. You know, I can't even do that. So let alone like I'm not gonna be able to go ahead and continue on with sub.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thank you so much, Lex, for the question. If you have any more for Vince, go ahead and shoot. But I want to let everybody know that Vince actually hasn't seen the most recent episode because as this is perfect setup here, Lex, because this newest episode isn't dubbed yet.
Yeah.
Right. So Vince is waiting on that.
Don't grill me, man. Don't grill me.
No spoilers on that hour-long episode. All right, the final season, part 4, part 1, or whatever. You know, no spoilers on that, guys. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about spoilers about what's happened before all that. Right, which means that Levi currently is where right now?
He had the Beast Titan, and he had him hooked up with the what are they called, the spears or whatever?
Yeah, the thunder spears.
And then he escaped, and as far as I know, that fool's dead.
Yeah,
and which was really hard to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So that's again, man. It just goes to show everything that Levi has been through, but also who has lost more than Levi?
Dude, you would think Aaron.
Yeah.
Nope.
But the thing is, when you really go back and watch, or when you really like,
oh yeah, like the couple episodes where with his backstory and how he was like brought up.
He's had like a hell of a childhood.
He didn't have a childhood.
Like that's exactly, because when we see him, and again, like even like we're talking about season 3. At the start of season 3, we get a very brief little like frame by frame like tease about this malnourished child that's just watching this lady like dying on this bed, and you realize that
it's his mom, right?
That's his mom, and this freaking runt of a kid is Levi.
Yeah,
weren't
they living in like a brothel too?
Yeah, it was just in like the shittiest conditions.
Yeah,
and you have your father figure, if that's what you want to refer it as, in Kenny, Ackerman, and he's just teaching Levi how to survive.
What's his nickname? Kenny the Butcher?
Kenny the Ripper.
The Ripper.
Yeah.
That's such a bad name.
So Kenny the Ripper, and then again, when we see Kenny in season 3, like we're just like with the Beast Titan, we're introduced very quickly what a strong character this is. When you get little teases of Kenny, but you don't see him in his glory yet until Levi is on the rooftop, right, with his scouts in hiding.
Oh, yeah.
Then you see somebody climbing up that rooftop. Next thing you know, that person, Kenny, with literally 2 guns, points them right at that soldier. It was this female soldier, and blows her head off. And you're like, damn, dude, this guy is like no remorse whatsoever for human life, and then again, you go ahead and you see as he's literally holding up his own against Levi, that this guy's legit.
Yeah.
But again, like Levi, he has lost so much, obviously shitty childhood. And then when you see him, he has his Levi squad, and then you see the female Titan murder them, and then it just seems like from then on, man, just like there's always been for Levi, like, excuse me, he's like, he realizes that it's just, he's numb to everything, right?
Yeah.
But I remember we talked about it, like the moment where we see him get affected is when we get that theory of these Titans might be actual humans.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And then you remember where there's a moment there where Levi is in the room with Irvin, because Irvin had just retrieved Aaron. Irvin is literally in bed because he's missing his arm now.
Yeah.
You know, and then they get that theory. And then Irvin is like smiling because they're one step closer, that step, like that much closer to the truth, right? But then Levi, he's like almost like the realization that the one thing that I'm good at, I'm murdering people, you know?
Yeah.
And then again, man, like Levi, he's just so battle tested. And yeah, you said Irvin obviously is the other character, man, that comes to mind. And I know with Lexi, one of her favorite moments is when Irvin has just gotten his arm eaten, right? And this Titan is literally like he's taking him off his horse, and you know he's telling his soldiers, you know, I said advance, god damn it, you know, that moment where they're there to try to retrieve Eren, but they see their commander and they all stop, right? And he has to tell them like Eren is right in front of you. What kind of person literally gets their arm like getting ready to get ripped off, and he's still so poised to go ahead and command his group, you know?
He's a man with a mission, and he's going to see it through.
Yeah, and so we're going to see in this episode exactly how, like, stern and how strong-willed Irvin is, because, as we talked about, like, we're going to go ahead and talk about this final judgment, this deliberation, and Vince mentioned, man, they obviously have their mind made up. Because they're building, you know, that they're gonna hang them, you know, so they wouldn't be building that if they didn't make up their mind. So, but yeah, man, those are two great choices. But it's funny you mentioned Armin, because Armin actually is my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, but for the reason you said, talk about serious character development.
That's a well deserved.
Yeah. And I think for me too, and like knowing the person that like I am internally, like certain things that are important to me, you know, like one thing that is that important to me, what's important to me is like loyalty, right? And with Attack on Titan, there's so many loyal characters, right? But I feel like there's just something with Armin where he just, no matter what, he's gonna go ahead and no matter how shitty Eren's being, he's gonna go ahead and try to just, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt, even though, like you saw, Eren beat the shit out of him.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And Armin has gone through so much character development where it's like hard to even recognize that that's the same character.
Yeah.
You know?
He's grown up.
And
he saw the ocean and then he grew up.
Yeah, exactly. But that moment in season 3 where there's that decision between Irvin and Armin where they have to go and bring one back. Do you remember that moment?
Which episode is that?
Yeah, that was that was at the end of season 3 when they had the serum. They can only bring back one person.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, me and Lexi were screaming at the TV because, you know, we knew who we wanted, right? I'm guessing maybe you wanted Irvin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying, yeah. And obviously, like your other character, Levi, was going to go ahead and inject, you know, Irvin and bring him back and become this colossal. And I will say, thinking about Irvin as a colossal Titan
would be insane.
That would be incredible, you know, because he's already so like just strong-willed, and for him to become this Titan, you know, like who knows what he'd be able to do for the story going forward, you know? Because you see with Armin, now he's in his mind, he's constantly comparing himself to Irvin, you know, knowing that you guys brought me back instead of him. Like, what are you guys thinking, you know?
Yeah.
And man, it's crazy. But me and Lexi were screaming.
It was such a dramatic, like 30, 40 seconds of that show. It was
insane.
So good.
Yeah. And Attack on Titan has those moments, man, where it's just like they drop just this bombshell on you.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, but Irvin and Levi are incredible characters. All right, next question. Ooh, this is a good one. So if you could bring back, I think I might know the answer to this one now. If you could bring back any deceased character, who would it be?
Dude, Erwin.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Erwin for sure. Yeah, okay. Now,
For so many reasons.
so I want to ask you, okay? So, knowing what you know, say Irvin is the decision, right? He's the one that they bring back, right? Levi, as he was adamant that I'm bringing back the commander.
Yeah.
Right? That makes the most sense. We know the story plays out to where Irvin seems content with how things are ending. Right?
Yeah.
He essentially swipes Levi's hand away, right?
Yeah.
Now, hypothetically here, he's brought back. I want to hear, Vince, I want to hear your theory here, okay?
Like how it would play out? Like everything
What do you
after?
think would change in season 4?
Ah, damn.
Knowing that now not just Irvin is alive, but he's also the Colossal Titan.
Damn, that's crazy to think because like what happened? Wait, what are some of the major plot points in 4?
Okay, in 4, so that's when we all of a sudden now we're in Marley, right? We're being introduced
just
to
into
like
Marley.
the characters like Gabi and Falco and them being trained, right, to become these Titan warriors. But then you have Rhino, who is a shell of himself. You know, he
Yeah.
just wants to die.
Yeah.
Then you have the others like Peak, the Cart Titan. Porco is now the Jaw Titan.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're being introduced now to this other part of the world, the enemies, right?
Yeah.
But you realize that, like, it's about perspectives, right?
Yeah.
I keep blocking you, damn it. Wait, every time I'm getting all animated about it. But I'll keep my right arm down here. But we find out that they're just trying to live their life, right? I mean, they refer to the people in parody as the Island Devils, right?
Yeah.
But what happens is like Eren, he goes and he pretty much infiltrates. He goes and he does what he does. And, you know, he makes a scene, and then where Irvin would play into effect here is when the scouts come and they arrive to help save Eren.
Which he like did on purpose too, right? Because he
Yeah.
was like, they're not gonna leave me here.
Yeah, he pretty much used Falco
Yeah.
as like the messenger boy. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, he acted like he was this disabled, you know, old like veteran warrior or something,
Yeah.
you know, like some soldier.
Just manipulated him.
And he had him send this note, this letter to his friends. And that's when all of a sudden they knew, like, all right, we got to be there. Yeah, we have Eddie's joining us, and there he is, Eddie. This is our special guest. This is my friend. This is Vince.
Yo.
Eddie, we're asking Vince some questions. If you have any AOT-related questions for Vince, go ahead and shoot. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us, Eddie. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
But I think if Eren wears around as a Colossal Titan, I think things would go a lot more smoothly.
Smoother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Levi wouldn't be under more pressure. He'd be more willing to fight, or more easier. Like he'd be going through the motions easier. And I don't know how Eren would take it. I think Eren would still be a little bit like not as crazy, because Erwin would be there to like calm him down.
Right,
Yeah.
you know what? Like there's still this kind of like big presence.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
About him. And the thing with Irvin too is that like he's not just now this one-armed, he has 2 arms again.
He's
he
colossal.
now has his even stronger ability. And I think to kind of help with your theory here that we see Armin is so reluctant on using this power, because what does Armin want? He just wants to kind of have a peaceful manner about things.
Yeah.
But then he has like literally, I would say probably the most destructive Titan, you know, because the first time we see Armin is when he takes out that whole harbor of reinforcements.
Yeah.
And then he
The
just
whole
becomes
Navy.
this nuke, right? Now I'm willing to bet that Irvin would be way more willing to become the Colossal Titan, because Armin rarely turns into his Titan form.
Yeah, and Armin wouldn't do anything to like hurt Eren either.
Yeah.
Like he'd be way too reluctant, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And because with Armin, whenever there's a tactic or a strategy, his mindset immediately goes to like, we need to try to reason,
Yeah.
and we need to avoid, bloodshed. Which, how often does that ever happen?
Never.
And I think Irvin would just be, we know he's willing to do whatever it takes to go ahead and claim victory.
Yeah.
And that just has been evident with some of the stuff that he's been a part of in seasons, 1 through 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been reckless, right?
Yeah. And then Erwin's a better like bureaucrat. So like, you know how there's all that other stuff happening with
Yeah.
like trying to merge Marley and in the island. I think
Yeah.
he'd have a lot more reasonable say in all of that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think people would listen to him more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely, especially when you again begin to understand his resume, and what he's been a part of, what he's endured, and what he's survived, and then he would become this legend, much like Levi already became.
Yeah.
Like Levi, he is this legend. Before we even meet him at all in season 1.
Yeah, it's season 1 when they get Aaron out of jail, right?
Yeah,
When they bail him out.
He's already this incredible soldier, this legend, and then again, Irvin would just become again the same imposing force. But one thing I asked Lex, so Irvin, he resigned as the commander, right, of the scouts.
Oh, yeah.
And he decided Hanji was the next in line.
Yeah.
Now, if Irvin is alive, does he reclaim his commandership, or does he go ahead and just become a vital part of the team, but he's no longer kind of leading the Survey Corps?
I think people would want him to, but I don't think he would do it. I think he would just become, like you said, another vital player.
Become like what Hanji was in like a section commander, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said the same thing too, because again, I don't think Irvin's the type where he's going to kind of go back and be like, all right, Hanji, good job. I'll take it back. I think Hanji she'd be the person to want to give it back to him. But like you said,
He wouldn't do it.
Irvin would be like, look, like pretty much in his way of like motivating and stuff,
Yeah.
he would instill it in her that she is the right choice, which again, I love about Irvin is that he has his way of just like motivating.
Yeah, it hypes me up. Makes me want to do something in my life.
I remember way early in our early podcast episodes, we had this debate with 2 of my friends, and we did like a special like little like OVA episode. We were over in like Lake Arrowhead or something, and so we just talked about different stuff. And I asked them both, or I asked just open forum, like, who is the better commander, Commander Irvin or Commander Pixis? You would think
I would think Irwin, but Pixis has his moments too, though.
Okay. I like that. I like where you're kind of going with that. But our friend in the show, Zach, he was so dead set, and he was, arguing his case that Commander Pixis was the better commander. He had his reasons, he had his points, but everybody else agreed that Commander Irvin was the superior commander.
Pixis is really, I don't know if he's like, what's the word, like impressionable, but I think if like he can fall a lot more towards the size of like the government and stuff like that, when Irwin would be like, he's more for the people.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell that humanity and like fighting for humanity means more to Irvin.
Yeah.
And especially knowing what the government has done to him, because we recently talked about in season 3 what the government did to Irvin's father. I don't know if you remember, but his father was a teacher.
Yeah. And then he gave him that
knew
theory.
Too much. He went ahead and he was saying a certain thing. He was talking about how there's people on the other side of the sea.
Yeah.
Right?
He was asking too many questions.
He put up an illustration showing like pretty much a family entering and going into the wall or whatever, right? But then when a young Irvin asked a question, he gave, his father, the teacher, kind of gave like a sugar-coated answer to kind of just like, all right, not tell him the truth.
Yeah.
Then he told him the truth when he got home, and Irvin told his friends, and that's when word got out, and then the military pretty much took care of the teacher, his father.
Yeah. And that pretty much just put him on the path to where he ended up.
Yeah.
I'm sure he felt really bad too. I'm sure he felt like it was his fault. His dad died.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine, like,
and
the weight he was carrying.
And I know that as we talked about it, like that is now his mission going forward is he understands that the government killed him for a reason, and it's because of his knowledge. And so he's going to go ahead and find that truth. And so that's what his motivation is now, which is why he is so willing to put himself and even scouts in such drastic situations, because much like he smiled in finding out that humans are titans, he smiled because he's that much closer to the truth. And yeah, I agree with you, Vince, that Irvin would allow, he won't allow things to get as messy as they currently are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you wouldn't have the show.
Yeah, I know. then you would just have this kind of like a different version of Eren being he wouldn't just be this kind of like imposing now, what some people think of him as, like now the antagonist,
Yeah.
He would just be this kind of rebellious still kid,
He's a brat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's trying to stray away from Commander Irvin and Levi and stuff. But this next one is it's kind of a loaded question, and I'll tell you. I'll let you think when I ask you, because I'll tell you what my pet peeve is. And this question is: are there any specific pet peeves from the story that bothers you, or do you have any specific question that you want answered once the series is completed? Now, in terms of pet peeves, my biggest pet peeve with Attack on Titan has to do with Historia and Ymir and their story, because what bothers me the most is Ymir's decision to go leave with Reina and Bertold.
Oh yeah.
That bothers me the most, because she's so adamant that there's no future inside the walls, right? Especially now that they're aware that she's a Titan, She thinks that she's thinking the worst. I get it too. Her decision was also, it was made because she owes Reina and Bertold. She says, essentially, I would still be this wandering Titan had you guys not shown up. And I ate your friend. And so now you didn't get Eren, but I am the consolation prize, right?
Yeah.
And it just upsets me because she immediately was taken to Marley, I'm assuming, right? And she immediately was eaten by who is going to be the next, Jaw Titan, which is Porco.
Yeah.
But he has a pretty badass Titan, so I guess it does kind of,
Yeah, I think the Jaw Titan's probably like one of my favorite ones.
One of your favorites?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool looking.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just bothers me because I think about what the alternative could have been. Like Historia, she goes and she reclaims her. Yeah, she pretty much takes the throne, and she becomes now the queen, and that means that Ymir, she would be there protecting the queen.
Yeah, that's true, huh? I never thought about it like that.
And I'm not gonna say that, knowing that she's a Titan, that they wouldn't go ahead and try to twist her arm to leave Historia and fight alongside the scouts and stuff, but I think that if the queen has the final say, she's going to go ahead and say, look, no, Ymir's going to stay here and protect me. And for somebody who says that there's no future in the wall, that sure sounds like a pretty good future.
Yeah.
And plus, I liked Ymir as a character. I mean, she had so many layers to her, and she obviously hides her emotions. But then when we get to that story of her and Historia and their kind of bond and stuff, it made me wanting more.
For sure. Yeah.
So now I want to ask you, Vince, is there something like that bothers you at all about the story?
God damn. I knew something. I was like, they are going to be another level. I tried to prepare, but
yeah, it doesn't have to be anything as big as that. It could just be something as simple as oh man, what really bothered me is, like you said, just we talked about it, that choice between Armin and Irvin, or something, especially if he's one of your favorite characters. I mean, if I was in your shoes and Armin was the one not chosen, that'd be something that kind of would bother me too. I'm like, damn man, I really wish they would have brought Armin back.
I think I would leave it at that. I think that definitely is kind of it would have been the smarter choice, but in thinking of just story arc and story development, I guess it is the right choice. But just it kind of bugs me to think what could happen if we had both of them, both Armin and Eren, and it's I don't know, it's I could have gotten in a whole different route, and I think it could have still stayed true to the story and everything.
But let me ask you now, with that theory, how would they have been able to bring back both those characters?
Oh, that's right, because they were both dying.
Yeah, they're both dying, unless the only way would be that somehow Irvin survives that suicide run.
Yeah,
or Armin isn't as reckless with his life, as he was.
Yeah,
because I mean, again, as I mentioned about the loyalty aspect of Armin, I mean, he laid down his life for Eren.
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. But I mean, the same could be said too for Irvin, and you know, he laid down his life there at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, for humanity and the chance for them to carry on. You know.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, how would they be able to bring them both back? It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing, I mean, I guess it's like kind of hard to say now because we're still in the middle of the show, but it's just like not knowing where to stand as like an observer, like someone watching the show, like who is the enemy? Like should I even like have on a side? Because I can't pick a side right now. And on top of that, like Aaron's just like a brat. Like he's gone rogue in his own sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess it's good. It's really good. It makes for a good story, but it's like making me anxious. I want to know.
So you said that you're kind of like don't know which side to root for.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, are there certain characters on the other side that you maybe like?
Man, that I like?
Somebody, maybe characters from Marley, you know? Because again, season 4 is when the focus is on them. You know, we're learning about these new characters on the other side of the sea.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is there anybody that you watch and you're like, man, you know what? I actually kind of sympathize with that character, or, you know, and it can be Rhina. It can be some of the newer ones like Falco. You know, I don't know if not many people are fans of Gabi, but maybe it's Gabi.
I hate Gabi, dude.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hate Gabi.
I mean,
maybe it's Peak, Porco.
Which one was Peak?
Peak's the cart. She's the cart type.
The cart. Falco.
Maybe it's Zeke. You know, I know you probably
Zeke?
not if you like Levi, but
not. I mean, I can see why I wouldn't like Zeke, but I kind of feel bad for him as a kid and all that. He was just thrown into this with his parents and everything.
Yeah.
And
with Grisha.
Yeah, it was Grisha. And then Falco too. I feel bad for Falco because he's just under Galbi's like impression, and it's kind of like the opposite. Now that I think about it, it's the opposite of like Mikasa and Eren, because Mikasa is just looking out for Eren, and Falco is just there because Galbi's there, and she's like taking him on this horrible like adventure, and
and
he gets his ass beaten by like what is it, like a wine bottle, right? Yeah, dude, poor Falco.
Yeah, and it's because of that reason that he ends up, you know, getting involved even deeper into the whole kind of like the Titan mess.
Yeah.
You know? And that's so interesting that you mentioned that. You mentioned the relationship between Eren and Mikasa, right? And how it's very similar with Falco and with Gabi.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something that actually we never talked about on the podcast.
It just hit me right now too.
And yeah, I mean, it's such a great point because we're getting the different perspectives of Marley, right? And then whereas before we were just focused on the people over in the island of Parody, right? We were told that they are the victims and they're the ones we know we need to root for them because of those Titans and everybody else on the other side. But it's like, man, when you really think about it, you know, it's like when you see characters like Falco and what is important to him, and obviously he's crushing on Gabi, you know, but he's putting himself in these these predicaments, these situations, you know, he's sacrificing himself just to protect her,
and he's trying to like talk reason into her, and she's just not listening. Like she's on her own tip. And
even somebody like Rhina, where again he's a broken down shell of himself. But then you find yourself, at least for me, like I find myself kind of like feeling sorry for him too, you know, and it's so weird because he is one of the main reasons why we're in this mess, you know, because he did what he did over at Eren's home. You know, but damn, like I didn't think about that connection, man. That was a really good one.
Kind of like a vice versa thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like the parallels and stuff, you know, for sure with these characters and I mean, it's I don't want to say Gabi's like Eren, but you know, it's like, man, Gabi, she's just so hard to like early on.
I mean, I can't see any situation that would make me like her.
Yeah.
Like when she almost got killed, and I was like, do it. Yeah,
exactly. Especially when she goes to those barns and those horses are just freaking, you know, that one horse is like gnawing on or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Gabi, she's just a hard character to like. What does Eddie have to say? All right, Eddie. Eddie says, sorry, I was out. I don't have a good enough connection, but home. Hey, Vince, if you were able to be any Titan, which one would you be?
Dude, I'd be the Jaw Titan.
The Jaw Titan?
Automatically, dude.
Awesome.
He has the sickest face and just chomping down on foods would be tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jaw Titan is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah.
But you want to go ahead and you would like to have that same look that Porco has, where it's kind of like the mane and everything, you know. And because another thing that bothers me is Ymir, she was the Jaw Titan, right?
Yeah. She didn't
But
have that, right?
Why didn't she change forms?
That's what I wondered. That's
Yeah.
kind of confused me too.
Yeah.
I had to go ask my friend. I was like, what is up with this? And he's like, I don't know. He didn't know either.
And it's so weird because
Just accept it.
you see her Titan form, right, as just the generic Titan, right? She's just this wandering Titan. And then she goes and she eats, you know, who is it? It was Porco's brother, Marcel is his name.
Yeah.
And then she stays the same form. And the only reason I could think of why is so that Rhina and Bertold can remember that Titan when they see her again.
Oh, that's true.
That's the only way. It's just for the story. That's the only way I can think of. But then when I think about it more, I'm like, they'd still be able to recognize, at least that's the Jaw Titan, you know?
Yeah. It has like the exposed jaw, too, right?
Yeah, it has, and who knows in terms of like the Titan details? Who knows with each form, like how they change what is so specific about them and stuff? Because you know, with the Beast Titan, obviously it's going to be a different beast, right?
Yeah.
And that theory is supposed to be like whatever certain kind of animal or whatever is I don't want to say like important, but is almost like when you growing up as in your childhood or something, some sort of like key
What the heck?
thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird, and maybe it could be as simple as just being your favorite animal, which would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was the case, if you were a Beast Titan, what beast would you turn into if it was your favorite animal?
The Beast Titan? I'd probably turn into like a werewolf.
A werewolf would be cool, man. Yeah, we've talked about it too on the show where it's like, man, Beast Titan forms. You know, I would love to be a werewolf. We've done where it's like our spirit animals. You know.
Yeah.
So for me, that means that I would be a dolphin.
I was gonna say, I
Beast
think I'm
Titan.
a dolphin too.
Yeah, you're a dolphin too.
I think
Hell
so.
yeah, dude. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. You got two dolphin Beast Titans over here. But Jaw Titan is a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
It reminds me of a Pokemon. I forgot the name. I think it's Drybones. No.
Oh yeah. There's like Cubone. Right? Cubone.
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw it, and yeah, it would just be so sick.
Yeah, Cubone, and then there's the evolution is like Marowak or something, or I can't remember, but I think isn't it Cubone? Like the skull is the skull of like the mother or something.
Yeah.
That's the story, right?
And then where's it as a helmet?
Yeah. Yeah, damn, it's crazy. Falco's Jaw Titan would probably be second one that has fur.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good point.
I don't know if is that something that you know.
I didn't know that.
Okay. So Eddie, I don't know. Maybe you missed the first part here, but my friend here, Vince, has not seen the most recent episode. He hasn't seen the hour-long first part of the final season. So
Dub gang.
yeah, he's waiting for the dubbed.
Don't grow me, please.
No, Eddie's cool. Eddie would never do that. But I was trying to remember if that's a detail that maybe you've seen or not.
Not that can remember. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying too much attention to that.
But the second part of this question, is there any specific question that you want answered when the series is done?
No, I mean it takes forever, but all questions get answered.
Yeah, you're pretty content with how it's going.
And when they do get answered, it's like very satisfying. Like I will say though, like when they finally got to Aaron's dad's lair, and like they're in there, it was kind of like anticlimactic when they just found the book.
Yeah, it's just his notes.
Yeah, it's just his notes, but then you realize like there's so much in those notes.
Yeah.
And then they see the picture for the first time and like, what is this?
Yeah.
And
that's the moment where I was the same way. I was like, wait, like
That's it?
we're in his cellar, right? They keep hyping up this
Dude,
thing
there's like
that they're gonna find,
4
you know?
or 5 episodes just about the cellar.
And then we go ahead and we find the notes, but it leads to something bigger because that's when we learn about Grisha's past.
Yeah.
That's when we learn about his time over in Marley, his other family, and especially when they drop us with that crazy little twist where the Titan that kills Aaron's mom is Grisha's first wife. Do you remember that?
I think, yeah.
Because the moment when they have Grisha over at the top of the wall, right? And then the Attack Titan saves him, right? Aaron Kruger. They save, so he gets saved, but before he gets saved is when his wife gets injected and gets, pushed off the wall, and she becomes that smiling Titan.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that that's kind of the detail there. But then again, once you go into the cellar and you get these notes, you kind of, again, it leads to more.
Yeah.
But like you said, with Zeke and his upbringing, when we learn about Grisha, I mean, you realize, man, this guy was a pretty shitty father,
Yeah, dude, he sucks.
early on. I mean, he had redemption with Aaron, but early on it was just a very strict childhood for Zeke, and then Zeke ended up outing his father and stuff.
I mean, that was another plot twist for me, finding out they're related. Yeah, it was so subtle too. They just like they mentioned it so subtly, and I think my brother ruined it for me.
Really?
He's like, "Oh, that's when they kill his brother." I was like, "What do you mean?"
Oh, yeah, because they do drop it very subtly because.
You kind of just put it together, right?
I think it's implied in the way that he first sees Aaron when he is saved, from Levi.
Oh, he's like, I'll save you from this brother.
Yeah. I'll save you from like our father or something, where he goes like, I think he talks about his looks and how he maybe he looks like his father. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't look like him. I can't remember the exact words, but it is implied. Yeah. That's when it's first like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah.
Because when you see a lot of people, when they first see Zeke, and that's when you first get a look at him, and he's on top of his Beast Titan form, waiting for them to arrive at Shiganshina. A lot of people, myself included, thought that, wait, is that like Irvin's father?
I thought that was his dad too. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because you see this blonde bearded figure, with glasses, and it's the same, kind of like look, the resemblance a little bit with Irvin's father. Because at that time, we don't know what happened to Irvin's father. We don't find out that he's murdered by the government,
Yeah.
But yeah. And then finally, question I have for you, Vince, is something we've talked about before here in the podcast, is if you could fan cast yourself as one AOT character that you feel you can portray well.
All right.
Who would it be?
I mean,
I know who you would want to be.
I want to be Levi for sure.
You would want to be Levi, but do you think you can pull that off?
No, I would want to. I would put a lot of effort into trying.
Yeah,
but if I were to be one, logically, damn, dude, I'd probably be Armin straight up.
You think so?
Yeah, I'd be a little baby, but I would grow. I would grow with the story. I think that would be a little bit more fitting for me.
Yeah, Armin would be a great choice. I would love to be an Armin character, but my friend Eddie here, he is an aspiring film maker, and he has aspirations of, at some point in his life, being able to do a live action Attack on Titan. He actually has already casted me as somebody. He says he sees you as Niall, who's the character we're going to go and talk about. Niall is the commander of the military police. And to me, actually, Niall, I think, is... Go ahead and look him up. Yeah, Niall Dock is his name.
Yeah.
But he's a character that I think is really misunderstood, because when we think of military police, we think of them being very lazy. We think of them, not, wanting to be in the very cozy part of the wall, not wanting to do a whole lot.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him now.
Yeah, and he's the one who has that kind of that different relationship with Irvin, because they were in the same cadet class.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to talk about in this episode about what's going through Niall's mind as he sees what's happening to Irvin.
He has that internal dialogue, right? During that whole or when they have him on his knees.
Yeah, he's thinking to himself essentially like, mate, like what he's aware of prior to that.
This isn't you. Like, what are you doing?
And what he's aware of prior to that is just Irvin explaining that, like, hey, I still have this gamble, and he's like, wait, like what's the gamble? There's no way you want to go out like this and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about it more in detail. But Niall is he's a really misunderstood character, again, because of who's associated with, who he is commanding. And one thing too that we realize is that he's just, he's the commander, but he is this family man. He cares about his family. You know, yeah, he doesn't see his family a whole lot, but he has his morals. He does think more logically. Obviously, he's the commander, which he should. But in terms of these other military police, like all they care about is boozing up and you know, playing cards or playing Pinochle or playing whatever games that they're doing.
Yeah, that's right. You know? That's right. Yeah. And
something we talked about, I believe 2 episodes ago, was logically thinking about this new, like the new uniform that we see Kenny and his crew are wearing. He's thinking to himself, like, those aren't going to do anything against. They're not going to be able to take out a Titan.
Yeah.
He goes, but man, they sure are perfect for taking out humans. You know?
Oh yeah.
And that's when he's realizing, man, you know, like, what happens after the scouts? Are the military police going to be next? And then I like when he starts connecting the dots.
Yeah.
And Niall, I think, Eddie, I think you're onto something. I think Niall would be a great choice for my friend here, Vince. But
let me go ahead and
audition for Arm and see if you like it.
I can do Levi.
Eddie, yeah, I'm coming into audition for Levi. But Eddie has deemed me as Grisha. So I would be Aaron and Zeke's father. So
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with how tall you are, I'm sure.
Yeah, that and plus too, like the look too. If I can go and I'll straighten the curls. You know, I'll go ahead and I'll keep the kind of
glasses,
like, you know, the glasses and stuff. Yeah. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I already told Eddie, I'm like, man, give me that role, man.
Was Lexi Mikasa automatically?
No, Lexi actually. She wanted to, and I think Eddie also agreed that she wanted to be or cast herself as Ymir.
Ooh,
because Ymir also is a character where she is taller. You know, she does have like the freckles and stuff. You know, and she's, you know, she's a bitch. You know, like she's very bitchy.
Another character they make you hate.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that's like Lexi was, man, I'd have to channel in my inner bitch, you know, and stuff. And Lexi, she's when we do the episodes and we're you know, doing the dialogue, I could tell, you know, she does a really good job as Ymir, but personally I think her best voice is Hanji. I think she does an amazing Hanji.
I can see her as Hanji.
Yeah, and
she has glasses too, right?
Yeah, she wears glasses where she wears them, but you know, she puts the contacts on and stuff. So that'd be another great cast, I think, for her. But I think Ymir is the choice she wants.
Hanji's another character that kind of like, because when she first was introduced, she was like a psycho. Like she was a spaz. And then,
exactly. Very reckless. You know, she's not only endangering herself by being too close to Titans, but also like other, you know, scouts and stuff. You know, another thing, a little running gag we have is our sympathy for her, you know, rest in peace, but for her, pretty much her personal assistant, her right-hand person in Moblet. I don't know if you remember Moblet, but he is the one that's always there by her side. And he is the character who is like always making sure she doesn't kill herself.
Yeah.
You know? And he's the one that actually saves her at the end.
Yeah. I gotta go back and watch a couple of episodes.
Yeah, he goes and he pretty much throws her into that well.
Yeah,
you know, and then he goes and he sacrifices himself.
I forgot about the well part, but yeah.
And
then thinking about it now, like how more mature she got, it's probably just like side effects of war.
Yeah,
like she probably just
probably
tired of all that
and also just from all the loss that all these characters are having to experience, you know, like they're losing so many key allies.
Yeah.
You know, so then you realize, damn, you know, like life in itself, you know, you got to be more careful. And so I mean, when we first hear, like you said, she has her 2 Titan research, you know, little subjects, you know, Sonny and Bean, and she's like getting as close as she can get with them, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, she is very, very reckless. And like I said, she is immature. We have Kyron joining us. What's up, Kyron? Kyron, sorry I'm late. I had to save 20 dogs from a burning building. What?
Nice.
Please elaborate. Kyron actually, he told us he got sick a couple weeks ago. And then he thought it was like the flu or something. But then when he woke up, he realized that he just inherited the Cart Titan. So yeah. So to your question, you are the Jaw Titan. Chiron's the Cart Titan, which he's not happy about it. He's like, damn it, the Cart Titan of all people.
Is that the one that she stayed a Titan for like 2 months straight or something like that? You can stay
the cart form for I think like months at a time.
Yeah. Is that just like a Cart Titan thing?
I think I think it is. But I'm not sure, because we know that certain Titans, they exude so much energy that they have to like, you know, replenish themselves in their kind of human form and all that, you know?
Well, Eren can come back to human and then immediately go back to being a Titan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on how much training, how much experience you go ahead and you get. But yeah. What does Chiron say? But I threw them back in because they were from Marley.
Poor dogs.
All right, Chiron. So this is my buddy Vince. He's our special guest in this episode. If you have any questions for him, any AOT questions, go ahead and shoot. But that's all I got for you, Vince. So, thank you for that, man.
That was fun.
All right.
So now I was able to answer him.
Yeah. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the poll and the Q&A. And I think I want to start with the Q&A. We'll go ahead and we'll do that. And so, so the Q&A question has to do with Flagle. And Flagle is Demo's son. Flagle is that character we see early on where he's just kind of he's referred to as this dumbass son of, you know, he is, you know, this
rich
fat
kid
character
son.
And stuff, you know, and he's a coward. But
not for
last week's episode is when Flagle stepped up and he put himself at risk just to go ahead and reveal the truth. Because like you said, I mean, he's witnessed his dad get murdered. Which means that
while he was taking a pee.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He had to go and take a quick piss. But he's the only one that was aware of the truth. So that means that the soldiers were trying to kill him. You know, thankfully it had Hanji to save him. But last week we talked about when they orchestrated this trap, they went to this abandoned area of their home, their city, which I believe is Trost. And that's when Flagle was able to go ahead and reveal the truth that these soldiers did kill their father, that they don't care about the people in the city, you know. And then so now once the truth is revealed, you know, Hanji and Mobilet, they arrive, they take out the soldiers, and Flagle, while sitting on the dude's head, you know, he goes and he gives his speech to his people, and now the people, he's telling them to have their trust in me just like you trusted my father. So it's a huge character development moment.
Definitely earned that trust. From
a character who, again, we're introduced to, and he's a coward. You know, by knowing the truth, he's convinced himself that he's going to have to be on the run for the rest of his life. But then with the help of the scouts, you know, he steps up, you know, and it's cool. So this question is, like Flagle, would you risk your life to reveal the truth? Okay, so think about in the kind of scenario, like the scenario of Flagle. Like, say if I'm put in that situation where I know a certain detail, I know something, and the government or whatever sort of, you know, faction or branch or whatever association is trying to change or sway a narrative, right? Would I risk myself in Attack on Titan? Say I'm a character. Would I do that? Would I go as far as what Flagle did? And let's see what some of our friends said. Well, first is from Rose Flavored Ice Cream. And Rose Flavored said, hell no. I liked Flagle, but my self-preservation instinct. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Rose Flavored. Yeah, I think that's the initial reaction is like, if I had Hanji come up to me, you know, if I had Commander Irvin come up to me and they're telling me this certain detail, like, look, you're going to have to go ahead and essentially be the bait.
Yeah.
Right? Man, I don't know if I could do it.
I'm sure Irvin can convince me.
Yeah. That's actually something that Chiron mentioned before too, where I think Chiron, he mentioned that Hanji was able to convince Flagle, and she like learned. She must have learned something from from Irvin, because he goes, Irvin could. I think Kyrie mentioned like Irvin could convince me to run into a wall or something. You know,
he's got that Optimus Prime speech. Skill.
And we have a friend of the show, Eddie, who his account Sunset Ridge Skateboarding. Sorry, Eddie, if I butchered that, but he says yes, but I would be cautious. And but I understand Flagle's unfortunate situation, and he says he's a real one. So
I don't think he had much to lose at that point, so why not?
Yeah, the thing is, it's what, run for the rest of your life?
Yeah,
you know,
run where too? Everywhere there's a bunch of Titans.
Yeah, and exactly, and he's not gonna be able to go ahead and survive. You know? So I guess, like you said, I mean, what does he have to lose other than just his life and putting the trust in the scouts that they're gonna keep him alive? You know, but Eddie's saying that he would, but he would be very cautious about it. You know, understandably so. I mean, if in this situation, much like Flagle, you have 3 of these military police officers, you know, having their rifle pointed at you, right? Like, that's like, shoot, man, I don't know. And we see with Flagle in that situation, he just tries to get the truth out quick. He like rapid fires question. Wait, what? Why did you have to kill my father? Why did you know? And it's like he's just trying to get the truth. But I don't know if I can go ahead and could I trust? I think I could trust Hanji. I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know, because
what does she do to you?
She's a little reckless.
That's the beauty of it.
Because like another thing too with Irvin, like he would convince me to do it, but do I think he would save me? I don't know, because he's willing to risk
a lot
scouts' lives to reveal the truth. I might be another pawn in in his
a bigger game.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess, I don't know. Hopefully, I would just hope that I would become some sort of like, hero upon, dying for this cause or whatever. Probably not. I mean, I'd probably just be known as just this Flagle, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah. Shouts out Flagle though, when he convinces the newspaper to run that story too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Renanel 9614 says simply yes. All right. Thank you so much for that, Renanel, for the short and sweet response. And then, of course, friend of the show, Bobby. Bobby7 says, I'm sorry, y'all, but no, there's already enough in this world lowering my chances of living. So, he's thinking in terms of like, man, yeah, like, would I risk my life? Like, dude, there's already so much that can kill me, And, I mean, it's true, because we've talked about it. Like, there's so much happening, and there's in Attack on Titan, things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
We talked about where they're being told humans might be Titans. Then all of a sudden, this is just after the reveal of the traitors, and it's like now all of a sudden the government, it's like everything is happening so quickly. It's like, what the hell? And then you lose Aaron and Historia. Rod Rice has them, and it's like, what's happening? And then there's still Titans that are around. We still don't know where the whereabouts of Rhina and Bertold are and all that. And it's like there's still so much, and it's hard for me to say that I would be willing to do it, but I think I'm in the same agreement as you, Vince, that if it's Irvin giving me this speech, then I'm doing it, with as much pride as possible. I think
Yeah.
But Hanji, I don't know. I think the jury's still out for me with Hanji.
Yeah, she needs a little bit more practice.
Yeah,
the convincing.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, for her spiel with Flagle, I mean, she's essentially calling him like this like coward, and you want to be like a running rat the rest of your life and this and that, do it for your family, do it. And like, she's making good points, but maybe it's coming about it the wrong way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one. But I like it. Also, too, Eddie, thank you for the response. But Kyron, I would love to know, my friend, where you stand in this question. Would you be willing to risk your life in Attack on Titan if it meant revealing the truth? Would love to find out. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the poll question. And the poll question we have is, who would be worse to get interrogated by?
Oh.
Karen says, I answered, I thought. Maybe you did. I'd have to go back and look. I'll check back, my friend. But who would be worse to get interrogated by? So the choices we have are Levi, Hanji, the military police, or Premier Zachary. And Premier Zachary is a specific moment of he has a weird torture tactic.
Yeah, that's like immediately who I thought about when you asked that question.
Yeah, we can try to explain his torture tactic, but it involves a chair and it involves like you being in a very vulnerable
naked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to display it.
Yeah, exactly. He from this frame I have this photo here. I mean, the dude's naked. He looks like he's just like he's eye level with the person's junk, you know? Like who knows what he's doing.
That caught me by surprise that they did that.
Yeah.
I was right out of left field.
Yeah, really, really crazy. I know we don't know too much about Premier Zachary, you know, but damn, like you guess some people have their kinks, I guess. But for Levi, I mean, we talked about him. He's currently interrogating this one fool by just, trying to get answers. Where's Aaron? Where's Astoria? He's not talking. So he shoves his foot in this guy's mouth,
Boot.
Yeah, his boot, yeah. Causing him to go ahead and like literally we see him after he spits out freaking Levi's boot, he's missing teeth and all that, he's mouth's full of blood. Levi, I'm sure he's done other torture tactics. But then you have Hanji, right? Hanji, she's a wild card, right? She has her tactics. Military police. But let's go see what the results say. So I'll go from least voted to our top voter. And our least voted at 8% is the military police. So it makes sense. The military police, I mean, we talked about they can be very lazy. They don't want to go ahead and I don't think they're going to want to go ahead and put in the work to do that. We've seen an instance where some of the more higher ranking officials, right? Like they were involved with Irvin's father's death.
Yeah.
They tortured him before they killed him. And then they also were involved with, crazy enough, with Armin's parents. Now, they didn't torture, but when Armin's parents were in that like hot air balloon, they were trying to go ahead and escape, right?
Yeah.
It was revealed that it was the military police that gunned them down.
Mm.
And then the only other instances where and Kenny was involved with this too was Historia's mother, her biological mother, who didn't have a great relationship. Obviously, she didn't even want to do. She didn't want anything to do with Historia. But yeah, I mean, in terms of torturing, I think the only example we really have is with Irvin's father. I don't think they did it. They really tortured him. They probably just killed him. So makes sense that they are at 8%. Kyron, I'm sorry, my friend. Kyron says, I answered, I thought, and I said yes, if I had Flagel's plot armor. All right. Now, third with 22% is Hanji. Okay. Now, Hanji, we see her torturing, the character's name is Sanas, and he is the one that tortured and killed the pastor. I don't know if you remember Pastor Nick, but
Vaguely.
Pastor Nick is a character that was associated with the Scouts only because he was aware of certain things. He was aware of Historia's importance.
Yeah.
Right? But he still wouldn't say anything, because of the code, because of his, the order of the walls, right? He's the one who, when they saw the Titan's face, he made sure, to go ahead and don't let sunlight hit it.
I remember. It came back to me now.
Yeah. So he died because he essentially was tortured. They ripped off every single
his nails,
nail, right? But he didn't say anything.
Yeah, props to him for not talking.
Yeah.
No
but
snitch.
Hanji, she's aware that this dude, Son, is killed, Pastor Nick.
Yeah.
And so she felt guilty. So when now she has Son is in this chair, Son is this first interior military police officer. And the interior police are obviously the ones that are closely protecting the king and the government. So this guy's son is really got his hands dirty. Like I said, he was involved with Irvin's father's death, with Armin's parents' death, with Historia's mother's death, and who knows who else. But when Hanji's able to go and torture this guy has there's a funny line where he says, like, she's getting ready to torture him, and he goes, like, who tries to torture somebody without asking any questions first? Like, Hanji, she was going in right from the get-go, right? And we don't see how she tortures this guy, but while the other Levi squad members, like Sasha and Connie and Mikasa and Armin, or they're in another room waiting, they mentioned, like, wow, like, the screams are louder when Hanji is torturing, instead of when Levi is.
Oh.
Now, there's this theory that Levi doesn't get messy because he wants to stay clean.
Yeah.
He's a very cleanly dude. Now, don't know. But besides that, with second in 30% is Premier Zachary, which means Mr. Cleanly dude, Levi, he's a top voter here with 40%.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Vince, do you agree? Do you think Levi is, out of the 4 choices, do you think he's the worst to get interrogated by? Or maybe let me ask you this. Out of the 4 choices, how would you vote?
I think for sure, like, military police at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I was being tortured, I would want to be tortured by them.
Yeah.
For that same reason. And then what was the other one?
So we have Hanji, who got third, right, with 22%, and then there is Premier Zachary.
Dude, I think
30.
Premier Zachary would be on top for me, just because of that
You
whole
vote Premier Zachary?
weird thing that he did. It was just like, it was insane.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he had like a really big bone to pick with those foos.
Yeah.
So like it was really personal for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think after him, it would probably be Hanji and then Levi.
So I guess it really depends on the crime, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it depends on that, and also it depends on what we've seen with Irvin's father. We've mentioned him a couple times in this episode, but with what it depends on what you know. Because again, Sanas killed Pastor Nick because he thought that from what he knows, he told maybe the scouts some things.
Yeah.
So that's why he died. So again, it depends on the crime, but I'm kind of surprised, with Levi being the top vote getter here.
He is the scariest one.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
He's the scariest one for sure. I mean, I would hate to be on the receiving end of that boot, for sure.
For sure.
But plus, also, there's that moment too where early on in season 1, when they have Aaron chained in this courtroom, Levi's there. He's literally just kicking the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Guess maybe now that I think about it, maybe we get more evidence of Levi torturing, than Premier Zachary. So I mean, maybe, because I agree with you. That's how I would have voted if I'm ranking them. The military police in the bottom, then Hanji, Levi, and then Premier Zachary. But it was still close, 30% to 40%.
Yeah.
What is it, Eddie Eddie says, yeah, because his parents tried escaping, but also, did his parents really have to do it in public? It's true. Like, it was like literally like
broad daylight.
Yeah, broad daylight. I mean, we've talked about it before. How are they aware of everything outside of the walls? Where they have a book, but where do they get the book from?
That's true.
That's why it's one thing I kind of wonder. And I don't know if we've ever got that answered.
I don't recall any answer towards that.
Yeah, because they obviously were aware of everything outside the walls. They're aware of the sea. They're aware of the mountains and everything that's outside of it. So, but yeah, it's kind of weird, Eddie, that they decided to do that in public. Eddie also says that he chose Levi. Okay, so he was with the majority. Kyron says, that's crazy. I'm just realizing that the Titans were sleeping at night because they are humans, and as we know, humans are more active during the day. Yeah, because I feel like the MP would just kill you, right? And they really don't have morals. Yeah,
true. Just get it over with.
But yeah, interesting detail there, Kyron, that with humans not being, or with the Titans not being active at night, right? I mean, but
weren't there some that were?
I think that the ones that were instructed by Zeke.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, they were essentially, kind of being, coordinated to go ahead and attack. But also, doesn't something have to do with the sun as well, or was that just a theory?
I could have sworn like they get their power from the sun, or I don't know.
Maybe there was just a theory that they have. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, interesting detail there, Kyron. But all right, thank you all so much who voted. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for future poll questions that we have and for future Q&As. So, without further ado, I mean, we're already an hour 20 into this, and we still have a story to talk about. So I think we should go ahead and get into the story because this is a big one. This is an important part of season 3. And as we've talked about it, we've done some recap already. And we know that the government, this is the governmental arc here, where the government is trying to go ahead and push the narrative that the scouts are the criminals. And so they have Irvin Smith. They have the commander of the Survey Corps there in front of the king, in front of his council, surrounded by military police and his peers. Now he's going to go ahead and receive his final judgment. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is season 3, episode 5. The episode name is Reply. And this is part 1 of our episode breakdown and discussion. All right, Vince, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Just what's in quotes, right?
Yeah, so just what's in quotes, and I'll go ahead and I'll narrate and say the rest.
All right.
So we're back at the Capitol in Walsina, and an observant citizen says,
"That's a lot of wagons. What's all that about?"
Noticing the unusual amount of military wagons entering the Capitol, his fellow citizen replies, "You mean you haven't heard yet? Pretty much all of the military higher-ups are meeting inside the castle. They're finally disbanding the scout regiment." And then, like Vince had mentioned, in the background, we see these soldiers and they're building something. See? They're building those gallows to hang the commander from. He's probably getting his final judgment as we speak. And then the scene changes to the commander himself, Irvin Smith, standing before the king and his council, ready for his final judgment. Irvin makes his statement. So you have to get ready for Irvin. When facing your enemy, you can't just guard with a shield. You need a spear to dispatch the threat. If you disband the scout regiment, it will be similar to humanity tossing its spear aside. Suppose that in this very instant, Wall Rose was breached. Once again, half of humanity would be forced to flee, this time to Walsina. But the earlier evacuation left us with only a few more days' worth of supplies at best. And when they run out, locals and refugees will be forced to fight for survival. Wall Rose and Walsina, all of humanity would split, and a civil war would quickly erupt. Even if the walls are not breached again, Wall Rose is suffering from a perpetual shortage of food. It may not be Titans that breach Walsina. It's entirely possible that the residents of Wall Rose will do it first. Interesting. And then we hear the military police in the king's chamber, our current deliberation room. They all quietly now start speaking amongst each other after listening to Irvin's warning. The commander of the military police, Niall Dock, he watches Irvin closely, wondering what's that big gamble of his. We also see Commander Pixis listening carefully. Irvin continues, Wall Maria must be reclaimed. If humanity is to have any hope for the future, then that is the way. And then, one of the 4 important council members of the Order of the Walls, the member that will be orchestrating this deliberation, asks Irvin, "And you think that such an undertaking requires the scouts?" And Irvin explains to the council, "Our duty as scouts has ever been to charge forth at the enemy. Cowering in wait behind these walls will solve nothing. That's my belief. Unless you have some sort of secret plan by which we might overcome this ordeal." And then the 4 members of the Order of the Walls, they all glare at Irvin, while the king lazily watches in his throne. Irvin stares sternly right back at the council. The first council member now responds, "Commander, It seems you misunderstand what this is. The reason we brought you here is to not discuss our future within the walls, nor is it on account of something as simple as murder. Clause 6 of the Charter of Humanity. One must never prioritize their own gain over humanity's survival. You've broken the most sacred of laws. The second member of the council chimes in. Indeed, you have refused to hand over Eren Yeager time and time again. And through this selfish action, you've violated our charter. And then Irvin emphatically explains, but Eren is vital for the reclamation of Wall Maria. And that first council member sternly lectures, that is not for the scouts to determine. A third member tells Irvin,
Eren Yeager is a Titan whose abilities are far from understood. To shelter him within our walls is to put humanity at risk. And the very idea of allowing a single commander to have a control of him is absurd.
And then the first council member adds, as shown by the way you maliciously schemed against the state. Not only did you feign his abduction in order to conceal his whereabouts, you also slew Demo Reeves when he learned too much. And at that moment, we notice Nile Doc, now looking like he's questioning that specific detail, knowing Irvin Smith personally. Is that you, or is that somebody knocking?
That was me.
Oh, that's you?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So it looks like Nile, now he's starting to question, right? And then that first council member continues. This amounts to blatant treason. And the fourth and final member adds, it's not a stretch to describe you as a threat to humanity. Now the second member calls a question. Commander Pixis, the garrison and scout regiments frequently risk their lives side by side on the front lines. How are we to know you aren't working together now? Well, Commander Pixis responds. And forgive me, I will try to do my best, Commander Pixis. I am deeply disturbed to hear that you believe we would align ourselves with the scout regiment. There is nothing more senseless than humans killing each other. In this cramped bit of world that's been left to us, it would take but a single spark to engulf all. Just before the battle to retake Tross began, I said as much to the men I led, and then sent hundreds to their deaths. If the scout regiment is that fatal spark, then it should be smothered at once. And we see Nile is now confused by Pixis and his stance. Think about it. What if the Titans did manage to break through the wall, only to find next to nothing, next to no one inside it? The poor monster might have to go hungry. And well, the council, they chuckle to themselves as the second member clears his throat and responds, very well, then let's begin the deliberations. And then all four council members turn to the king. The first member states, Your Majesty, with your permission. And then we get a closer look at the king, still staring, not having moved at all. And then we now see the four members of this Order of the Walls closely deliberating among themselves. As Irvin awaits for his judgment, we see the commander of the MPs, a former cadet classmate, Nile Doc, standing behind Irvin, thinking to himself. Actually, this is what I'm going to do, Vince. I'm going to go ahead and pull fast one real quick. Because Eddie has fan casted our friend here, Vince, as Nile Doc, I'm going to go ahead and edit this very quickly. And so you can go ahead and also be Nile.
Down. Where did you leave?
I'll go ahead and I'll edit real quick to where hopefully it edits for you also, since there's that.
Yeah, I think it updated.
Okay, there's also now here. All right. So there's that for the first part.
All right.
So I'll go ahead and I'll read it again. And so do you see where we're at? We're towards the bottom here in this first paragraph. And it says, as Irvin waits for his judgment. And it's right there next to where it says Vince. So here we go. So do your best, Nile. But all right. So as Irvin Smith waits for his judgment, we see Commander of the MPs, a former cadet classmate, Niall Dock, standing behind Irvin, thinking to himself.
Erwin, is this how you want it to end?
And then Niall, he now looks at Commander Pixis. The deliberation appears to be finished as the second, the third, and the fourth member all take a seat. The first member stands before the king to announce, "Now then, in the king's name, I'll announce your final judgment. Commander Irvin Smith, you have been found guilty of violating Clause 6 of the Charter of Humanity. Your sentence is death." Soldiers in the background gasp as Irvin doesn't waver and continues to sternly stare. "Your execution will be carried out at once. Take him." A confused Niall watches the soldiers preparing to escort Irvin out of the king's chambers. Niall, full of questions, wonders to himself.
Erwin, is this what you wanted? What about your dream?
And as the soldiers lift Irvin off his knees, in slow motion, Niall notices Irvin beginning to turn to look at him and give Niall a comforting smile. But then, the door abruptly opens. Soldiers quickly turn around, and the former commander of the scouts now stares intensely as everybody awaits word on the sudden interruption. All right, so now we got to talk about what the hell just happened, because a lot happened. So, this is Irvin's final judgment, right? You talked about Irvin and his strength, right? His the way he's able to go ahead and stay so calm and poised, right?
Yeah.
How the hell is he staying so poised in this moment?
Because he knows what's going on. He knows.
Yeah, he knows, right?
Yeah. Like I said, he's like 50 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah. And even Eddie also mentioned too, he says that nothing can break Irvin, right?
Yeah.
Agreeing. But you still like, he is placing a lot of trust in his, allies. Obviously you have, he's trying to trust that Hanji is able to go ahead and reveal the truth, right? Because when Irvin sees Demo's body, he goes and he essentially tells his grieving wife and daughter that he will pretty much, he will get revenge, right? I can't remember the exact words, but he's pretty much telling them that, look, I will go ahead and get revenge for your husband. And it confuses them because what do they think? They think that he's the one who's involved with this, right?
Yeah.
But he has to put in his trust in Hanji, who he just recently promoted as the commander, to go ahead and do her part in changing this narrative about the scouts, right?
Yeah, he plays it really close to the chest in that one.
Yeah. But not just that too. He also has to trust Pixis.
Yeah.
Right? And something you mentioned, Vince, is that like he seems like he could be the type to go ahead and really decide.
And he was ready to let him die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember if he had much to do with the whole plan, but he was like, if that's your choice, like, that's your choice. And
Yeah. And then we're going to go ahead and when we talk about the second part of it, we're going to get more details as to Pixis and his involvement with it. But it's just, man, this guy, I think that they tortured him, or at least they beat him up because Irvin's not in best state there. I mean, we know that he is in this kind of this handcuff. He's chained. He is beaten and bruised, and his eyes swollen, and so they obviously have, who knows how long he had spent in that prison cell.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like he's malnourished. I'm sure he's exhausted,
Undoubtedly.
but he's still just staying strong. He keeps looking at the council, with this stern demeanor, and he even kind of give Niall a little side eye where it's like just wait.
Yeah.
And then like right on cue, this happens. I mean, still, like Eddie mentioned, man, this guy, nothing can break him. Like you said, he's really going about as close as he can get, right? With death.
Yeah.
I mean, seems this guy's flirting with death a lot, but
We see how that plays out too.
yeah, exactly. But man, this is another crucial moment in the story where we go ahead and really realize, the just how strong of a character Irvin is.
Yeah, for sure.
Also the fact that he's just, if things don't work out, he just is willing to lay down his life, essentially. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that if things don't play out and he's still waiting for the cue and it never happens, they put him up there over on the stand, they put the freaking noose around his neck, do you think he's still having the same composure? Or do you think he's all of a sudden now, trying to reason and trying to speak?
I think, yeah, he would try and speak and reason. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, again, it's just a lot of faith that he's putting in, and his little seeds that he's planted. He's referring to it as his big gamble, and yeah, I mean, this is a huge gamble. Even Niall Doc is, like you mentioned, he's questioning, like, what the hell is Irvin doing?
Yeah.
He told me about this plan. He's gonna he sees they're getting ready to go ahead and take this dude after, like you said, the choice was clear right from the get-go. As soon as they start building that thing, they're going to go ahead and execute him. Yeah. And who knows? They're probably not going to stop there, and they're going to continue executing these scouts, right? I mean, the government, they have no remorse for people who don't agree with their way of living, right? And man, for me, I can't help but just think to myself how much trust this guy is willing to put, and this really is just playing with death.
Yeah. I mean, he's not one to keep anyone around that doesn't pay off in that trust. Like, everyone's there because he trusts them. So
yeah. And I mean, like you said, to your point too, I mean, he knows that Pixis is going to be there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's the commander of the garrison soldiers, so another thing too that's important, and we're going to talk about it, is that he also has planted that seed to Niall, who is the commander of the MPs. He pretty much told him, like, look, the choice isn't mine. He goes, you're going to have to make a choice. And he told him that well before he was even arrested, Yeah. He already saw that he was going to be placed in the situation, So then we're going to see what those words do to Niall and how they affect him. But Niall, he's so confused right now. But this council, man, I mean, from what we've seen from them, this 4-member committee here, right? Like, they are as slimy as they come,
Typical.
I mean, what it is just about maintaining power. It's about maintaining the hierarchy and all that, and
keeping themselves safe.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we see this king, which we're going to find out more about this king very, very shortly. But I mean, again, it's just the way that they worked in the shadows, and whenever certain things start to happen, they're like, oh, wait, this might actually work in our favor,
Yeah.
When you have somebody that, like Kenny, who is hard to kind of like maybe, have him follow the plan, because I think Kenny will go ahead and he'll do things his way ultimately, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But when he kind of goes rogue and he kills, Demo, who was working with the government and all that, right? He's like, oh, wait, maybe this could work. Maybe this could play. And then, they start changing the narrative, man. But again, it's like this council, oh, man, it's just, you instantly like want to just root for them to get their freaking, their justice, like, damn, like you want to see them go ahead and get eaten by Titans, I don't know, or whatever ends up happening and stuff, but like they're really, really hard to go ahead and even just tolerate because of, again, how so entitled they are.
Bastard.
And I can't remember though, have they been like overseeing things this entire time?
I think that's pretty implied, right?
Yeah, that this is pretty much been the norm, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason why things are changing is because of the events that have been happening, right?
They're finding out more and more, and then I mean, isn't this when they find out that Historia is the one true royal blood?
Yeah, and they are aware of that. That's right, because that's something that comes to light, and they are working closely with Rod Rice. That's right. They're working closely with him. So I think that, thinking about it, they've always been in power, but now because Historia, because now they have this Titan in Aaron, that they realize that, hey, we need to continue to be the ones on top.
Yeah.
And so, but man, they really are going to drastic measures,
I mean, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to do something like that.
Yeah.
And then that's why they're the scouts, man, because they're gonna do what no one else can.
Yeah. The scouts are willing to go ahead and do that, but like for the council, I mean, they're willing to go ahead and completely like banish an entire regiment. They're willing to go ahead and just pretty much make the scouts non-existent now, which is
any kind of threat to them, they're gonna get rid
but
of.
it's so strange to me because the scouts are the ones that are always risking their lives, though.
And that's like, they argue that a lot. They're like, no one's gonna do what we do.
Yeah.
We're the first line of defense. Like, I think they know they're impressionable, or not impressionable. They're easily replaceable.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But I think they're getting. Obviously, they know a lot more, and then they're starting to ask questions, and those questions and what they're knowing is putting their kind of way of living at a stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's easy to make those decisions when you are in Walsina, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like you realize that,
privileged.
Wal Maria was breached, but there's still Wal Rose there. They're not going to breach that, and even if they do, like, for this council, I mean, they're in the innermost wall. Like, they feel safe.
Yeah.
So I guess for them, I mean, they're willing to go ahead and banish the scouts and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's very strange to me when you have this. I understand wanting to get rid of Irvin, but the entire regiment is kind of like beyond me a little bit. Unless their plan is to get rid of Irvin, somehow put somebody else in power to kind of oversee or whatever the case is. I don't know.
Yeah, someone to push their agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's just it's I don't know. It's kind of weird to me because Titans are still a thing,
Yeah.
And you want somebody who's willing to go ahead and try to protect you from Titans.
Yeah.
I don't think MPs are going to do it. They're not trained to do that. What does Eddie have to say? Eddie says Irvin will keep his composure, but he'll convince the higher ups to let him go. Is that what you think's going to happen, Eddie, if things don't follow through and he's over there on the stand with the noose around his neck? I think that that's pretty much along the lines of what you were saying, right, Vince?
Yeah.
That if it really got to that far, it was like, all right, now I have to kind of now improvise a little bit.
Yeah, Levi's not there to like save him.
Levi's he's on the run, right?
Yeah.
He's doing what he can to go ahead and find information on the whereabouts of Aaron and Historia. But ultimately, the decision was made. It was very clear from the get-go that they're going to go ahead and execute Irvin. But there's a moment here where they are interrupted. So let's find out
Let's do it.
what that's about. Now, before I do that, let me go ahead and make sure that I edit this. Do you want me to edit it, or do you think you'd be able to go ahead and follow along with
I'll follow along.
every time there's a Nile line?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So now the soldier, standing at the entrance doorway, salutes and announces with warning, "Wall Rose has fallen! The gates have been breached!" Nile Doc immediately gasps. The others they all try to process this sudden turn of events. The soldier continues to warn, "It was just like Walmaria. The armored and colossal titans appeared out of thin air and broke through both gates in the Kalaneth district. Currently, countless refugees are flooding this way from the east." The first member of the council can be seen shaking with fear. Commander Pixis orders his soldiers, "Secure an evacuation route. Order all available garrison troops to make for the eastern front and defend the people. We must get those evacuees into Walsina. Hurry and go. Saving the people is our highest priority." The garrison soldiers in the room, they acknowledge their orders. But before they can carry out this important task, the panicking first council member says, "No, wait! I want every last gate to Walsina closed off. Not a single refugee will be allowed inside this wall." A concerned Nile questions,
But all those people, everyone in Wall Rose will die. You're commanding us to stand by while half of humanity gets devoured?
The panicking first council member responds, "Like Irvin said, if we let them in, then we'll end up in a civil war. The rule of law must be protected above all. The government mustn't fall." And then a worried Niall now says,
We can't be sure. That's only a possibility. There's no guarantee that.
but the first member interrupts. "It's enough that the possibility exists. Our authority is and must always be absolute. Now, follow your orders." And then Commander Pixis glances at the soldier who reported the breach to see what they'll do. And then we see the soldier hesitate for a split second, but then run to carry out the council's orders. The council, they deliberate closely together again. We see them, they're huddled. The second member tells the others, "Damn it, to think that the wall would end up getting breached at a time like this." The first member explains to the other members, "Although there is a silver lining here. We've already secured the power. Before too long, the vessel will take, and then our problems will end." The fourth member accepts. "Very well. This is far from ideal. But there's no point in losing our composure here. We still have one wall, and Lord Arise should be back soon." The third member also accepts.
Agreed. We're still safe for now.
The king continues to show no new emotion, nor any sign of movement, blankly staring. An MP soldier tells his commander Niall,
We have our orders. Let's get those gates closed.
but Niall stops his soldiers.
Hold on.
The MP soldier tells Commander Niall Doc,
The refugees are coming now.
but Niall doesn't answer immediately as he continues to process and think to himself. He recalls Irvin's words to him, "Who should decide? Who has the right?" The first council member, now growing impatient, yells out, "What's taking so long? Go do your duty! Ignoring my orders is an act of treason!" And Niall, struggling with his decision, responds,
Then I guess I'm a traitor.
and the power-hungry first member now asks Niall, "Say what?" And then Niall's MP soldier, confused and awaiting Niall's reasoning, says,
But, sir,
then Niall explains to his soldier,
I can't. I am a citizen of Walrose. I refuse to shut the gates on those people.
the first member erupts, "You dare to!" But then a voice interrupts, "I stand with him." And then the king's council all gasp as soldiers rush into the room with their rifles out. The first council member, surprised at who he sees standing in front of him, says, "Premier Zachary." And the commander Pixis asks Premier Zachary, "Did you find the way they reacted surprising, or was it expected?" Premier Zachary answers, "Surprising? Not a bit." The third council member asks,
Premier Zachary, what's the meaning of this?
Premier Zachary explains, That report you all just heard was fabricated. There's no cause for alarm. As of this moment, there have been no reports of any Titan attack." The first member, betrayed and upset, says, "Bastard! This was all a lie?" Commander Pixis explains, "It wasn't his plan. It was mine. It would appear that most of the interior police are off rounding up scouts somewhere, which worked out nicely for me." Then the first member questions, "What are you saying?" Pixis continues explaining, "When you asked me, I declared to you in earnest that the garrison regiment is not aligned with the Survey Corps. But I forgot to mention something else. We are not aligned with your assembly either. That's right. Although I agree with Irvin on several points, I was still willing to put my trust in your government, so long as you could prove yourselves to be the better choice for humanity. Because you have knowledge that we don't, about both the Titans and the walls. Had you shown that you actually gave a damn about protecting the people you govern, I would have stood by and watched as you sent Irvin to the gallows. In fact, depending on the choice you made, all of us were prepared to forfeit our lives. However, you made it clear that our suspicions were correct. It's true,
that we soldiers know next to nothing about Titans and their powers. But I dare say that despite this fact, humanity is safer in our hands.
The first member responds,
What? Don't be such a fool. Just what do you expect to accomplish by threatening us? You'll fail. The people will never obey you. The monarchy has ruled for over 100 years. You'll never gain the support of the nobles.
Commander Pixis now tries spelling it out for them.
It would appear that you've misunderstood what this is. You see, it's far more than a mere threat. It's a coup d'etat.
The soldier that reported the breach now informs Premier Zachary.
Interior police have been subdued. The capital is secured, sir.
Premier Zachary responds, well done. The Order of the Walls, the King's Council, they all stop frozen, flabbergasted that the interior police have all been subdued. Premier Zachary tells the council, to be a soldier can sometimes mean obeying your commander over your king. Commander Pixis adds,
and that's especially true when the king's a pretender. He'll be exposed and replaced.
The surprised first council member asks,
is this real? You plan to... Don't think for 1 second that this coup has a silver of legitimacy.
Commander Irvin now explains to the council, given the scenario you were presented with, your choice to close Cena's gates broke Clause 6 of the Charter of Humanity. Furthermore, you installed a puppet king in order to seize the reins of power for yourselves. This crime is known as treason. And then there is this long pause of silence as Commander Irvin, Pixis, and Doc, alongside the Premier, all await the council's response. The first member, growing upset, tells the puppet king,
shit, wake up!
And then the first member kicks the throne, and Puppet King finally wakes up.
What? Is it dinner time?
And then the pissed off first member tells the Puppet King,
oh, shut your mouth, you stupid oaf.
Soldiers now begin arresting the members of the council. Soldiers release Commander Irvin of his shackles. And then Niall tells Irvin,
well, Irvin, looks like you managed to pull it off. Wait, you don't seem happy.
And then Irvin turns to look at Niall for a moment, then answers, I'm thinking. Humanity is on a new path. One, far more dangerous than the last. To be continued. Damn.
Crazy.
See this? There's so much that happens, right? In just this first half of episode 5. Like, we still need to understand or find out what happens with Levi and his scouts, right? His Levi squad.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, man, he's dealing with all of this, and it's insane. What is it? Downloading. Awesome. Lexi says, hey. Thank you for joining us, Lex. Let's see. Oh, we have a few chats here that
looks
from first time chatter. Deloading 702. Well. So this is the podcast I've been hearing about, eh? Well, welcome, Deloading. Appreciate you joining us. Yes, we are talking about this specific episode. This is season 3, episode 5, and this is an important episode. This is Irvin's final judgment, his deliberation, as we just came to its conclusion that Irvin's going to be fine, right? Thankfully, he put the trust in the right hands, even though, like you said, Vince, that Pixis, he actually was willing to risk Irvin's life had he seen from this government that they are willing to protect humanity. Now, I don't know about you, but seeing the events and how things really just like a Uno card freaking reversed, like it's cool to see this council who I have so much hate for finally get theirs,
Yeah.
Like, it's
it's satisfying.
And how did you feel portraying Niall?
Dude,
Did
it was
feel
cool.
Natural? Did it feel? See, Eddie.
I think I'm ready.
I think you got a good, casting in it right here, Eddie. When you said that you can see Vince as Niall, I mean, there we go. He got a little taste of it. This is unofficial audition.
I can work on the voice a little more. I have to do a little more training on that, but
It's okay, man. I mean, this was your first time joining us. You know, hopefully it's not your last. I mean, we would love to have you back, of course. But we got to go ahead and just talk about this moment, right? Let's talk about. Let me find a certain point. Well, someone in the chat here says, Eddie's, downloading says, I'm just chilling. I'm glad I was able to catch the stream live. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for catching live. Eddie's being very, very welcoming as usual. And Eddie's, oh, man, to be continued. Yes. Sorry, man. We got to go ahead and stop here because otherwise, if we continue on with the episode, we'll be going on another 2 hours, you know?
Yeah.
So we know that it's late for some of you. I know for Kyron, he's over in Louisiana. So he's already, there's a 2 hour difference. So it is, or maybe it's, remind me, is it? It's just 2 hours, I think, and not quite 3 hours, but Eddie says, dude, this was phenomenal. Thank you so much for that.
thank you.
Also, Deloading saying that for Alex Mundos that hope all is well. Yeah, Lex. Talk to us, Lex. What do you think about this episode? You missed a good one. Yeah, Lexi, guys, we didn't tell you, but Lexi, she woke up not feeling the best this morning, but she tried to go and push through it. She decided to go ahead and take a nap and see if she would feel refreshed waking up, but she said that she wasn't able to go ahead and feel refreshed. As a matter of fact, she felt a little worse. So she couldn't power through and join us here. But I mean, hopefully Lexi's still here with us live in chat. Deloading says, glad I was able to catch some of the stream. Yeah. Oh, is this, he's saying cuz. Is this my cousin? What's up, man? What's up? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I was able to, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to our editor of the podcast, NatePlaysBad, because this is in reference to my cousin joining, because I, this past week, went to Nevada to go ahead and spend time with my family. It was awesome, man. I loved every bit of it. Just being able to go ahead and be with my family. It felt so good because I hadn't seen this side of my family in so long. But man, you know what? It felt so natural being able to see them again. I don't know if they same thing with like friends. You know, when you go ahead and you haven't seen a friend in forever, but then when you go ahead and you see them, it's like, damn, you know, like
Just pick up right
where you left off, right? And so I was away in Nevada, being there with my family. So shout out to NatePlaysBad for getting the episode ready and all that, because I wasn't able to do it. So shout out. But I told my cousin, hey, we're gonna be streaming. Go ahead and join us. And as we see here, deloading. Thanks, man. This is who I think it is. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Ooh, who's this? Jopa. You guys rock. I'll definitely be checking out the older podcasts on Apple on Apple. Oh, awesome. Hell yeah. I wonder if that might be my other cousin. If we got my cousins joining here, man, hell yeah. Let's go.
It's a family reunion.
Let's freaking go. Yeah, check out the older episodes. They're pretty good. If you go to season 1, though, Jope, I will say, though, that the quality is not the best. We were still trying to figure things out. Season 1 is all just audio.
Humble beginnings.
That's the thing is that you go back and we've reflected on the stars and all that and stuff and where we're at now. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean, shout out to NatePlaysBad for that too, because this whole setup here that you see here, Vince, would not be possible without Nate.
Oh, dude, sick.
Nate, what he does is he goes and he edits and he streams himself, so he had the familiarity. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to move next time. Well, I'll situate your camera better where you don't see my freaking hand always blocking you, man. I'm sorry. I get a little animated.
You're good.
But yeah, I pretty much was like, Nate, I would love to go ahead and do video podcasts. Help me. What do I need to get and all that, right? I mean, it's pretty significant investment when you go ahead and have to go ahead and get all the equipment, especially when you realize what you need and all that you need. But yeah, Nate was a huge part of just making this all possible. So shout out to Nate.
Heck yeah.
But it was just for some episodes in season 1, man, it was just the phone, just trying to go ahead and record the audio off of our phone. You know, we didn't have the mics. You know, and you know, there's just I remember we did it off of a specific app, and it only allowed you to record for an hour at a time. So we would have to go ahead and like strategically plan it to where we would stop at a certain point, you know, and then, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and then, you know, we'd have to go ahead and stream again and stuff, you know, and do the rest of the. Yeah, it was just a mess, but. The quality from the phone obviously is not the quality what we have here with this setup. So yeah, if you go back to season 1, just bear with the sound of the quality of the audio. It's a little, you know, light and all that, but
You gotta start somewhere, dude.
yeah, it's cool to look back.
Yeah, it's the
you know?
beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I also want to mention here that my friend here, Vince, is very talented in his own right because he knows about talking in a mic. He knows something about it. As a matter of fact, he doesn't just talk. He is singing,
More
right?
like yelling.
Well, yelling, but I mean, so my friend here, Vince, just to go ahead and let all my friends here know that he is the lead singer of his band, right? So what's the name of your band?
We're called GAPE.
GAPE.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And so how long have you been doing this?
It's been like 5 years
5
now.
years?
I think we're creeping up on 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, man, because talking about kind of humble beginnings, like talk to us like about where you were and then where you guys are at now.
I mean, we're kind of like in the same place. We've just done a lot more because, I mean, it went from just my brother, he's the guitarist,
Mm-hmm.
and then our friend Gio and our friend Miko just jamming out for the sake of jamming because they had no one else to.
Yeah.
And I would tag along, and then it got to the point where they're just like, just sing. You already know the songs because you're here all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've went from like having 2 or 3, 4 songs, and now we're at like 15 songs. I had practice this morning, and that's why my voice sounds a little crazy.
It's all good, bro.
Sounds very Pixis-like, but yeah, man, it's come a long way. Like I had to learn how to write a lot better. I had to learn how to like keep a stage presence and stuff like that, dude. But we've developed a lot as a band, and it's really cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Eddie's asking Gabe. No, it's GAPE, right?
GAPE.
P-E. Yeah,
Yeah.
GAPE. But it's like you talked about, man, like the stage presence, like that's all stuff that you go ahead and you're just kind of learning on the fly, right?
Yeah, dude.
Stuff
There's
like
no better way to learn than just doing it.
yeah, because how was it with you guys, you know, first time? Because you guys actually go ahead and you guys take gigs, right? You guys are performing and stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the first show we ever played, I had no words. So I was kind of just like scatting. I was just yelling along, making it seem like it was words.
Yeah.
But I mean, for punk and the music we play, it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the first show we played, first couple shows, I guess I really didn't have anything to say. And then, I mean, to see where I've come now and how I can do it a little bit better, it's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys said 4 years, approaching 5, right? Is that what you're saying? Or 6? Approaching 6?
I think we're approaching 6.
Approaching 6. So
Yeah.
I mean, what does the future look like here? I mean, we're still taking gigs and stuff, right? I know that the pandemic kind of like must have halted a certain
Yeah,
amount of
we
stuff,
had
right?
a very unwanted break during COVID.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us. And but we have a show coming up April 22nd, Traumaville. That one's gonna be fun. And then we're gonna get in the studio soon, hopefully record these new 5 songs that we have, and we're gonna come out with a 7-inch record, like the ones that are on the wall. Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's a little bit, but it's a process coming through with songs. Especially like me, I just kind of stand around and wait till like figure it out, and I jump in. But yeah, man, 5 songs, 7-inch. Hopefully by the end of July, we'll have that out.
So I'm so curious, man, like talk to me about like the process and stuff. Like I understand that it's got to be a pretty like in like extensive process, and like how long does it take usually to go ahead and one, try to come up with a song, and then just, you know, go about like, let alone 5 songs, you know, like how long does that usually take? What's the process look like?
Us specifically, and I mean, obviously that's all I can speak for, but we take forever.
Really?
we joke, we work in 5-song intervals. And but like how I see it, since I just sing, like someone, either the guitarist or the bassist, they would come with like a riff, a song idea, and like it's very bare bones, and it's I don't know, probably something that they came up on their couch or something, and they'll bring it up, and then the bassist will learn it, the guitarist will learn it, and then the drummer would jump in, and like he kind of just messes around, and then it just snowballs. Sometimes I'll blink and they're already like almost done with the song. I'm like, it's come such a long way. And
so that's usually how it is, right? You go
Yeah.
ahead and you start with one specific certain little sound, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
even just like a tiny little part.
yeah,
And then just really builds and becomes its own song from there, huh?
yeah, and then sometimes it just doesn't even sound how it first came about, which is cool, which is like how it should be. And then
Yeah.
it's always fun just watching them like brainstorm and come up with the things they do, because I can do half the stuff they do. And yeah, that's usually how it comes about. And then we all have like our drummer's a dad. I go to
Oh,
school
yeah.
full time. Our bassist goes to school full time. My brother has a job.
So scheduling and all that's got to be
Dude,
really difficult.
scheduling sucks. And we make it happen, obviously, because we want to be there.
And even just performing, like if you guys go ahead and you're performing a gig, like for like I said, you have the drummer who's a dad, and you
Yeah.
have someone who's a full student and stuff. Like, man, how do you guys? Do you guys just try to plan accordingly by scheduling gigs that way to where you see what availability you guys have, or how does that work?
Well, that stuff usually works is people will be like, hey, like we're trying to get the show together this date, this time, here, these bands, and either they'll hit me up, they'll hit my brother up, or they'll hit the bassist up, and
Yeah.
then we'll hit the group chat like, hey, this show, this day, at this time, this place, can you guys do it? And then on the other side, I'm like, hey, like I hit the guys up, give me like an hour, 2 hours, I'll let you know. And then, it's very rare where we can't, but usually we all will go look and we're like, all right, yeah, we can do it. And we'll do it. And it's a lot easier to say yes to a show than it is to like practice and come up with songs. Because, we already have like a set of songs that we can just go play, but we always tell ourselves no more shows so we can focus on making new songs, but we have a really hard time saying
Yeah, I
no,
was gonna
dude.
say, it's hard to go ahead and stick to that. I think, especially if you guys are being asked to participate in certain like
Yeah.
shows or whatever, and I want to ask the feeling, like being up there and stuff. Like,
Oh, dude,
do you get nerves? Do you get like, what does it feel like?
I used to get like, crippling's very, not the nicest way to put it, but I used to get really anxious. Like my hands would start cramping and like I'd be shaky.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like so nervous. And I would go up to my bassists. All of three of them have been doing it their entire lives.
Yeah.
And this is my first band. And I always go up. I'm like, dude, like I don't feel good. Like a couple of times I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, I don't know. And then he gives me this like really tough love things. Like, well, just get up there and do it. Like, what other?
Yeah, well, that's
like
what Jopa is asking here. He's asking, great question though, Jopa. He's asking, how do you get prepared though before getting on stage? Like, do you have a certain like preparation, a certain maybe ritual? Do you have like a certain like process,
Dude,
or is it just kind of like I just gotta
I just got to do it.
You just gotta
and
do
then,
it.
Like, I'm just like, and they're always just like, we're already here. So obviously you have no choice
Yeah,
but to
there's
do
no
it.
choice, right?
But at the same time, like, it's really important to remember that you're there having fun with your friends, and like that's mostly what you're doing it. And then it's really cool to remember that there's people there that are there to see you,
Yeah.
and like you want to give them a show. And then it also doesn't hurt to like have a beer or two before.
yeah, exactly.
some liquid courage, and then like next thing you know, it's done, and you're like, oh, you're full of adrenaline, like, oh, dude, that was fun. And then like there's times where people sing along to us, which I find is crazy.
I was going to ask you, that was going to be my next point, is that how crazy is that when you actually have fans that know your words?
Yeah, dude, that trips me out. I'm like, oh, what? Like, what? That's crazy. And it's really funny because I'll forget my words and then they'll remember them. And I'm like, it feels good, dude. It feels really good. And it's like, it's not a feeling that I ever thought I'd get to feel, because I grew up going to shows and I was always the fan.
Yeah,
and now I'm on
'cause
the other side.
Music is obviously it's a huge influence on your life, right? I mean, just a big part of you just as a person, because I remember even just talking with my sister that you guys enjoy going to shows and stuff. You guys enjoy just watching music and stuff and experiencing that, and the energy, right? The energy's got to be insane. And like you said, your genre is like punk, right? So
Yeah.
the punk scene can be pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but that's what I grew up in, and that's
Yeah.
what I can. It's
And that's what you're used to at this point. Like
Yeah.
you said, you grew up in it, so that's what you guys are expecting it to get. You
Well,
know,
I mean,
the
that's
energy
what you
up and
want.
stuff.
That's what you want, and it's always remember to keep everybody safe because you can do that stuff. You can have a fun time, and you can keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's unexplainable. Like you just got to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And even though when you see, like for me, like I've gone to shows and stuff just to see certain artists that I enjoy and everything, but it always for me makes it a better experience when you see that it's not some sort of very strict scripted certain thing. Like they're up there just like you mentioned, you're up there having having fun with your friends.
Yeah.
And then when you see them just kind of like bullshitting, whatever, and they're kind of playing songs, and then even then when they kind of like after a certain performance, like they're laughing at something that somebody did or whatever the case is, when you see that it's real, authentic, and genuine, man, like that to me, I'm like, I appreciate it more.
Yeah, man,
you
it's
know?
all about what you give out, and we have this conversation as a band all the time. There's a lot of bands out there that don't really, they're good, but their stage presence a little, I mean, for lack of words, boring.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not very musical to begin with, so I don't know if I can't really say anything on how they're playing, but move around a little bit.
Yeah,
dude. Dance, don't. Like, no one's making you be there. No one's forcing you to be
And also
there.
too, it's about like emitting the energy that you want to be reciprocated,
Yo, for sure,
like,
yeah.
if you're up there and you guys are dancing, you guys are freaking bringing that energy, like I think you can expect more or less the crowd to also feel that and to reciprocate it,
Yeah.
Like I think that's part of the experience. It's like if you want the crowd to get into it, for me, like I wouldn't expect them to go ahead and start getting crazy if I stand up there and I'm just kind of like standing still and just singing the thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's crazy. I was gonna go ahead and ask a specific question, but when I think about it, Eddie has a question, or he's saying in chat that I can kind of understand, Vince, that I skate and I decide to record a video, then I learn a new trick, and let me read it here. And Vince, do you only do the singing, or do they help with backing vocals?
They'll help with backing vocals. They'll put accents on stuff I say, and then we're actually trying to work more on involving everyone to get their singing in. And I mean, I skate too, and I get the whole recording thing too. But yeah, we're trying to work more on backing vocals and like call and response kind of things.
That's cool. One thing I kind of remember that I want to say was just an example of the experience that I got where it's kind of just, when you have a certain artist that lacks energy. I remember I went to a festival and I was excited to see a certain artist, and the artist went up there, pretty much just did the routine performance, right? And then the last song just literally just dropped the guitar, walked away. And like, I get it. That's certain artists and their niche and stuff. That's kind of like their persona, right? That's how they carry themselves, right? But it was just kind of, for me, a little off-putting because I'm like, I was excited to see them. And to them, it was almost like, all right, let's just do this and get the gig over with and just go.
Yeah, man.
And I'm like,
that sucks. I hate that.
Like, just how about enjoy it? Enjoy the fact that these people here are excited to see you, and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, funny. I was talking with my cousins too this past week that I like to do karaoke, which is cool, but I could never imagine, man, just like to the scale of like you have just described.
I mean, we're
of
not
that
playing
energy
big
and stuff.
shows, dude. We're just playing backyards. We're playing small venues.
But still, though, like it's different though when I'll karaoke in front of like my family or whatever and stuff like that. But you're doing shows, backyard, whatever, and stuff. It's like you're doing it in front of strangers. You're doing it in front of like your fans, like you said, the ones that are singing. I think that might actually, in a weird way, make me more nervous because knowing that they like me, they care. I have to do a good job for them or whatever. Like for me, like I overthink that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you want to give them what they want, and then I want to give what I would want to see up there. And that's
a great point.
Complete reflection of what I want to see and what I've like experienced at shows that I'm like, oh, dude, that's so sick. Like, what the heck?
Oh, this is a good question. Joe was asking is, how do we find your music? And is there a band that you can kind of compare yourselves to, like in style or in sound?
Well, we don't have any social media presence because
is that on purpose?
Yeah, kind of. Some people say it's cheesy. I would personally don't want to deal with running an Instagram account because I do that
Yeah.
for school. And but you can find us on GAPE on Bandcamp. It's a XGAPE bandcamp.com.
Okay.
And that's that. And
You said that's band camp?
yeah, Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Yeah, it's where you find like a lot of.
Okay. Because I didn't even know that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, you find a lot of bands on there.
Really?
A lot of local bands,
Uh-huh.
stuff like
Because
that.
I have like Spotify, right? And then so I'll go ahead and if there's certain songs that I come across on like my music like discovery, like or my weekly discovery, then if I like a song, I'll kind of see what's related, what's similar to that
Yeah,
artist
yeah.
or whatever, or what's similar to that sound. That's kind of how I get my music, but I'd have to check out Bandcamp.
Yeah, I
And you
guarantee
said
that a lot of
um,
people have their older stuff. That's where people get their start
Uh-huh.
for sure. And anyone can go on there, which is like the beauty of it.
And then you said that's X Gape X, right?
X.bandcamp.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so also like Joe was asking like what's kind of if you would say similar to your guys' sound, what would you say is kind of similar?
I mean, hopefully some references you guys know, but there's this band called Ceremony. They kind of went a little indie. It's still good, but their early stuff is very hard. And that's a lot of stuff that I take inspiration from. There's another band called Infest that I personally take inspo from, and I mean, like on a bigger scale, definitely like we're really big fans of Nirvana, and our sound is very far from them, but
but it's an inspiration that
but
you guys kind
it's
of
definitely like all four of us, we have like a really big love for Nirvana.
Yeah.
And like we all like the Misfits, stuff like that, like stuff that we all got our start in that we still hold to our hearts. And yeah, just stuff like that. Anything loud or fast.
Yeah, because that was gonna be one of my next questions. Was gonna be like artists that you specifically are like a fan of that would maybe be like an inspiration and stuff. So, but you pretty much just answered
Yeah.
that. That's cool, man. Yeah, because I'd say for me and my kind of influence in music and stuff and what I enjoy a lot of kind of like stuff that has a good beat, right? But I enjoy a lot of different music, but for me it's like I feel like I have this really like soulfulness to me or something, you know, and I enjoy kind of like that funky sound. And the first tape, like the double-sided little tape,
Yeah.
that I ever got was from my dad, and it was I don't know if you're familiar with the Isley Brothers.
Oh, dude, classic. Yeah.
And that was the first tape that I've ever gotten. Pretty much my like my introduction to music, and dude, that like influenced me so much and just my taste for music and stuff, you know, because for so long, like I remember being in school, and I got that tape probably when I was in, I want to say towards the tail end of elementary school. So going into middle school,
Nice.
you know, like I wasn't really listening to what like was popular on the radio.
Yeah,
I remember my friends would always like be mentioning the popular songs, whatever the popular artists are, and I'm over here like, you know, like, oh, I like the Temptations, you know, and stuff, or like, you know, yeah, just talking about some of the more kind of timeless oldies and stuff, you know.
Yeah, man.
And I don't know, it was always weird because the time in when you're in school, you know, it's like if you're a little different, whatever, it's kind of
very
like,
easy to get-
you know?
I mean, I was on the same boat, dude, for sure on the same boat. Like I had a handful of friends that liked the same music.
Yeah.
I was already taken out of a school or I was taken away from a group of friends that I had grown up with prior. And yeah, dude, I was really into like the Temptations also as a kid, and like Brenton Wood, all that stuff, dude.
Brentwood, yeah,
I love
love
him.
all that.
Yeah.
But that was like, credit to my shout out to my dad for
Shout out all the dads.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, definitely. But like now, as I'm trying to go ahead and really just experience different sounds and stuff, you know, like I go ahead and I love even just karaoke. Like I love trying to karaoke to like the Smiths.
Oh, dude, we
You
love
know?
the Smiths too.
Yeah, it's
dude.
just, I mean, it's fun. You know, I've tried the Cure before, and the Cure is really, really tough because of that kind of sound that he
Yeah.
has, you know.
We actually we did a Cure cover.
Really?
Yeah, we did one.
No way.
Which is cool. It was cool and it was fun.
Yeah.
Because it's so far from our sound.
Uh-huh.
And we tried. I mean, I don't want to say try. I think we like
You guys
executed
succeeded,
it pretty
though, right?
good in like making it our own song in a way. And yeah, dude, it was cool. It was for my other homies' YouTube channel. It's called Planet Planet. Check them out. They're the homies.
Yeah, Planet.
And they do like live band karaoke's kind of stuff. And we did what song did we do? Oh, dude, I don't know what song we did.
You're drawing a blank. No worries.
But yeah, we did a Cure song, and it was a lot of fun, dude. Yeah, dude, do more karaoke,
I want to guess the Cure song.
dude.
Maybe if I name it, maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, that
yeah,
one.
just name them.
It was one of the popular ones.
Kind
One
of
of the main ones.
Nah, definitely
No,
not one
no.
of the more popular ones.
Okay, because they have like there's like love song.
Yeah, it's definitely
Right.
not like a deep cut. Like you don't have to be like a nerd to know it. Like
Okay.
I'm sure. Oh, I remembered.
What is it?
It's Grinding Halt.
Oh,
it was
okay.
Grinding Halt.
Okay.
But they have like a different version that they did for a John Peel session that's the one we specifically went off of.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, dude. It was a lot of fun. I want to do it more, but we're too busy with other stuff.
Yeah, like you said, man. You know what? You have your band, and so they all have their other responsibilities and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, that's got to be tough. But yeah, man, it's awesome to hear. And like you said, for more karaoke, I already told my cousins, man. Like when we get together again, I'm bringing the microphones. I'm bringing the stuff, man.
Yeah, let's
It'll
get
be
it.
fun. But that's cool, man. So excited to go ahead and see. I know that my sister has mentioned to me about trying to go to see a show.
Yeah,
to
man.
see when you and GAPE are performing, and I would love to, but I'm low key kind of scared though, because it'll be for me going into a new scene,
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and then for me, I don't want to get stuck in like being this kind of like taller person in this crowd or whatever, and all of a sudden there's like a lot going on, a lot of energy and stuff, But
Just wallflower it, man. That's what we do anyways. Dude, we'll go up. We'll be off in the corner in the dark, just chilling. And then it'll be our turn and we'll go and they'll be like, who are these nerds, dude? Because we don't dress the part or anything.
Really?
And then we like
compared to some of the others,
yeah, like dude, one time we went up, Interpol, the band? Interpol?
I think so. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
very familiar.
Very big. We went up and then we did our thing and then we come down and some guy was like, dude, I thought you were some like Interpol cover band or something, the way you guys are all dressed, but that was so good. And I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a compliment, but it's kind of like in a weird way. I
Yeah.
don't know, like
It's like, so what if we're
yeah,
Interpol cover band?
yeah, because I remember too. Even it's a couple of times you've even told me some stories too, where like you find yourself somehow hanging out with certain other bands, or whatever, and stuff, and being in these weird situations. Some of the bands that you mentioned were like, you were talking about like Levitation Room.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, oh man, I listened to Levitation Room. There's a lot of songs that I like from them.
Yeah,
and
the
there's might be-
guitarist is from West Covina. He went to the same high school as I did.
Really?
Not at the same time. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
like 10 years older, but yeah, he went to West Covina High School.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's out there if you want it. It's really easy to breach. I've seen.
But it's just it's a whole different scene and stuff, But I mean, yeah, I told my sister I'm gonna make it out for sure.
Yeah,
these
man.
times.
Over the summer because I know she can't make him to right now because she's busy with work and school.
Yeah,
And like I am too, but I'm like I gotta show up.
yeah.
So yeah,
Cool, man. So you guys need to check it out because you said you can check you guys out at
Bandcamp on Bandcamp. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like a GAPE Bandcamp. We got
Yeah.
like 4 releases.
Check it out. And is there any way that they can go ahead and see you if you guys get any gigs or something, or is that something where you kind of have to just be in the know?
I mean, you can follow my Instagram. It's Hug Yourself, HUGYRSELF, and we are all our own version of the GAPE band or Instagram.
Yeah, because I can really, I can understand exactly where you're coming from in terms of social media part of it, because I myself don't have social media. The extent of my social media is the, Attack the Talk Instagram. But even then, I try to keep my hands off of that as much as possible. Like I try to go ahead and let, Lexi or even, Zach go ahead and kind of just do all that stuff. But every now and then, I'll dabble, I'll check out, I'll try to respond, to messages and stuff, or just like you saw, just see the results of what we go and post out there. But yeah, man,
It's a job of its own, and it's kind of annoying, dude.
Yeah, I think Lexi would probably agree. Maybe Zach too.
Yeah. It's a Hug Yourself, so it's Hug HUGYRSELF.
Oh, so
Hug yourself.
YR. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not. It's not the YOUR, right? It's just
Yes,
YR.
YR.
Okay. Yeah, hug yourself. Check it out so you guys can go ahead and see what Vince is up to in his band. Lexi says we need to do an episode where we just interview Vince and talk about music. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I remember I was telling Lex, I was like, hey Lex, we get Vince on the podcast enough, hey, maybe he'll go ahead and he'll get us an intro and stuff, you know. So an intro we can go ahead and play for every single time we're on the podcast and all that. But if you guys are saying it takes a while for you guys to make music, and I don't want to go ahead and intrude or anything, you know.
That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, we would love that, man. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions for Vince, go ahead and now's your chance to ask, because we're gonna go ahead and get to a close now, guys. We've been going now for almost 2.5 hours, so it's been another long episode. But we covered a lot. We talked about a lot. We saw a lot happen. Seems like things are gonna be good for him for now. I don't know, but then we talked about things can change.
As some of you may know.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Jopa says, besides the vocals, what instruments can you play? Ooh, good question.
I can beat around on a drum. That's about it.
Really?
Sound like a caveman. But,
I mean,
and then I know like power chords on a guitar, which is like not much, but yeah, I've tried to learn and I just don't have the patience.
that's the thing. That's the tricky part about
Like
it.
if I don't pick it up and know it right away, I get frustrated, which is such a bad habit to have. But I'm definitely trying to get into guitar sometime soon. It's just it's scary to like spend money on a guitar and an amp, and then they're like, oh, now I gotta learn it. Yeah,
because if you see what's behind you, it's just like a little acoustic guitar, right? And I just basics, you know, just try to go ahead and mess around with it. But I'm the same way too, where I'm like, man, it takes. Again, I just, like you said, the patience of it and you know, the diligence and you know, and all that.
Because you just want to be there already.
Yeah,
you want to be able to cover whatever song you want. And
and in a lot of ways too, I'm like that with like video games, man.
Oh, dude.
You
Don't
know,
even get
where
me started on
with
that.
when my friends still play, but I don't go ahead and play for this reason. But they, you know, Call of Duty or whatever kind of, you know, like first person shooter, big, you know, game, Fortnite and all that.
Yeah,
dude, if I'm trash at it at first, I get so pissed off at myself because I'm competitive that I don't want to be that trash player on my team, my friends group, you
holding
know,
them back
and stuff, you know, especially like with the Attack on Titan. I was late to the Attack on Titan game, you know, and just watching it, you know, like a lot of times I don't go ahead and buy the games when they first come out.
Yeah.
You know, my friends will go ahead and play it. They'll go do their thing. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, man, you should go play. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll join in. They've already been playing for a while. Not me, you know, but they're always like, hey, man, just okay. Just have the patience. Keep practicing. I can't have that, man. Because I'm like, I don't want to. I'm looking at my freaking KD ratio and I'm like, it's pissing me off, you know, and stuff.
Yeah,
and
dude, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I just play like Legend of Zelda now.
Yeah.
Like Mario games.
yeah. Yeah. For me, I usually just, it's the same game every year, unfortunately now, but like I play Madden.
Oh, dude.
You
I
know.
never played Madden, but I used to play NBA Street a lot.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that game's sick.
NBA Street, and then even they had like the NFL Street and stuff. I played both of those and stuff. Yeah, those are classics too.
Yeah.
But Madden nowadays is just the same game. It's pretty much just
Or like MLB The Show's sick.
I see. The thing is, I never really played. I don't really watch baseball. That's the thing, is that like I don't have a baseball team. You know, like I'll go to a couple games, you know, if it's like, you know, with some friends or, you know, a work, you know, thing. And it's fun. It's fun being there.
Yeah.
But I can't watch it on TV, man. It's tough.
I watch it because I like it. I have a passion for it.
Oh, really?
But
Did you play?
I played
growing
as a kid. I played as a kid and I loved it. I sucked a lot, but I understand where the boring thing comes in. But I also, for some reason, I like it. I like it. I like that in the matter of like an inning, you can go up 10 points or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it was. I think it's because I think I only played it maybe like when I was really, really young.
And you come from basketball too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a like
fast-paced
thing,
exactly.
dude. Which is like weird because people hate on soccer, but like it's so
That's also very
fast-paced.
fast paced.
I mean, I played soccer. I love soccer. I was a little better at it too. And dude, it got all of my energy out, and it got very physical, which is like, I mean, I don't know, coming from punk, I guess it's like you kind of like strive for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude,
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, see, I never played soccer growing up. That's something that I know that my sisters did. They play like the indoor and stuff.
Yeah.
The extent of baseball for me was like t-ball.
Oh, okay.
But then, you know, my parents put me in football, and you know, it's like I was just fast. So they're like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, but I also, too, like when I remember they were saying, you know, when I would hit the ball off the tee, I would run to the bases quick. So I was fast. But yeah,
The
for
long
me.
legs, dude. It's cheating.
Yeah. I mean,
Strides.
basketball and football those are the sports that I played.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, baseball, I don't know. I just can't watch it.
Hey, dude, can I do something really unprofessional? Take a real quick restroom break?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing. I've done it plenty of times too, man. Don't worry. But while you're doing that, actually, I'm going to go ahead and just start kind of get to a close. Okay, so go and join me whenever. Very, very cool. That's Vince, guys. Shout out to Vince. Let's give a hand for Vince. No worries at all, Vince. Not unprofessional, dude. You guys have seen the times I've gone and had to tell Lex, hey, Lex, go ahead and talk. I got to go pee. So we've all been there. But we're going to go ahead and get to our close, guys. So, yep, that's right, Lovey. Let's go, Vince. So that wraps up another episode, guys, of the Attack the Talk podcast. This is season 3. Remember, guys, new episodes will be streamed live on Twitch every Sunday. That's where you guys can find us live at 7 p.m. That's the strict schedule we've been at. We've been doing that for a while, so we'll keep it at that, 7 p.m. Catch us live streaming on Twitch. And then you guys can go ahead and see us. If you guys don't catch us live, you guys can go ahead and watch the new episodes when we publish them every Friday. And we publish those episodes on wherever platform you can go ahead and get your podcast content. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are also on Spotify. Spotify and YouTube is where you can go ahead and watch us. You can also watch us again over on Twitch. You guys can always go back there and watch our streams. Yeah, we're on different platforms, and you guys can go ahead and see those platforms at our Instagram account, and that is at Attack the Talk Podcast on Instagram. Go to the profile page. Lexi made an awesome link tree, and then when you click that link tree, there's a link for all of the many platforms that we're on. We would appreciate if you guys followed us on those platforms. Yeah, it would mean a lot. But yeah, make sure you guys go ahead and follow Attack to Talk podcast, because that's where we do all of our updates. We'll go ahead and we'll update you guys on the podcast times. We update you guys on when the new episode is out. We also post the poll question as well as the Q&A, and you guys know how much we look forward to those. I love talking about those. That's why we do it at the start of every single podcast episode. So if you guys want us to talk about your guys' responses, go ahead and answer that question. So again, thank you so much again, Lex, for the link tree. Huge shout out again to NatePlaysBad, our editor. Yeah, Nate, I say it time and time again. Thank you so much, man. You make this whole podcast thing so much easier. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you are always available. I'll go ahead and I'll shoot Nate a text, and then Nate will go ahead and respond to me. Hey man, I'm on it, or hey man, I'm a little busy right now, but I'll get to it when I can. Like the fact there's that awesome communication, man. And again, thank you so much for when I was spending time with my family, that, you had the podcast under control. You're like, yeah, no worries. Do your thing, man. I'll go ahead and I'll get the episodes ready. He downloaded the links and stuff, and all that. I love it. Deloading say Nate holding it down. And then he also says, just like when Nate Diaz puts down Jake Paul out in round 2. You guys heard it here first, guys. That is our first prediction here. Deloading 702. So if it happens, Deloading called it first. That's an interesting fight. Yeah, Nate Diaz and Jake Paul. For any combat sports fans out there, you guys know I like my UFC. So it's interesting. I'm a fan of Nate Diaz, so I might tune in to just go ahead and see how he does in boxing. I know Jake Paul is no slouch. I know people try to count him out, but it seems like he's been doing well. I've never seen a Jake Paul fight, I must admit. But yeah, we can go ahead and ask Vince what he thinks. Okay. I don't know if you watch boxing or not, or if you watch UFC or any of that stuff, but we have D-Loading has his first prediction here because it was just announced. I don't know how familiar you are with Nate Diaz going up against Jake Paul.
I know the names.
But D-Loading says that Nate Diaz is going to put down Jake Paul round 2. But yeah.
I'll take your advice.
Yeah. We were just giving a shout out again to the editor, to our editor Nate, for just his awesome work, and that's when Nate Diaz's name came up.
Hell yeah, go Nate.
Yeah, I think if Nate Diaz was editing this podcast episode, it wouldn't be going very well. I think he would spend his time on more important matters. So that's why I appreciate NatePlaysBad for just holding it down, like D-Loading said. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and let's talk about some ways you can go ahead and find some merch. That is in our Instagram, in our link tree. There's a link for you guys to go ahead and go to an awesome site named collector_sesh. If you guys click that link, it'll take you to their online store where you guys go ahead and browse through the many different anime merch that they have available. It's a lot, guys. I have a lot of the merch that's in here that, Vince, if you go ahead and kind of look around, there's certain things there that I have gotten myself from Collector Sesh. They were known as AnimeCrunch, but they changed their name to Collector Sesh. They're these brothers that we met at actually the Santa Fe Springs the swap meet.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Me and Lex were they were playing live music. I can't remember what it was. It was a cover. It might have been a Mana cover.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So when we were there, we were just kind of walking around during their little intermission, and we came across the shop, and these two brothers, awesome, man. We kind of just chatted up with them about the podcast, and they hooked it up with some free stickers and stuff, and
Nice.
And then we've gotten some stuff from them too since then, and yeah, they're super cool. So again, guys, that's collector_sesh. You can go ahead and check them out on Instagram, I believe, too. They are collector_sesh on Instagram, and they also have a second Instagram account named Geeky Statues. That's Geeky Statues, where they'll go ahead and they'll post different little character figurines that they have. But check out that link tree, guys. I mean, check out that link in our link tree. Another link that we have for you guys is Fandomion, and Fandomion has anime stuff and more. They have anybody's interested in Star Wars stuff, anybody interested in anything that is popular. I mean, when Last of Us was going on, I mean, they had Last of Us merch. They have Marvel, DC. They have even Lexi. She gets updates for all the different alternative merch as well. I mean, if you guys are looking to go ahead and just do some browsing, go ahead and go into that link. Click that link. That's Fandomion. It'll, again, take you to their online store. And guess what? Lexi has a promo code for you guys to use. So, awesome. You guys want 10% off of your purchase? Use that promo code, LEX, L-E-X.
What?
So, shout out to Fandomion. Shout out to collector_sesh. And shout out to Geeky Statues. Now, let's talk about some art. Now, we've talked about the art that Vince does with his music. Right. So again, shout out to Vince and his band GAPE. Go ahead and check them out again, guys. But we also have some other creative minds involved here too. As I mentioned, our friend of the show, Eddie, he is an aspiring filmmaker. He loves creating content. He has a YouTube channel his name, Eddie Hinston. Go follow along so you guys go ahead and see the different videos he puts out. He's been doing some cool skate videos and trying to go ahead and teach people on some certain skate moves. Vince, I gave up on all the skating when I ate shit one time, dude. I was being so cocky. It literally, all I did was just, I learned how to just the basic little, like the little ollie, like just standing in one spot. And then for whatever reason, I remember being like, hey, check this out. I think I might have been, with my sister or something like that or whatever. We were little. I want to say this was probably like, let's say 5th or 6th grade. I rolled the skateboard in my driveway and I ran to it and I went to go ahead and jump on it. I immediately jumped, fell back, ate shit, landed on my back, and that was the last time I touched a skateboard, dude.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. So Eddie has been trying to go ahead and teach for people who want to learn, some tricks. So go ahead and check that out. But also Eddie makes art. He draws art as well. And you guys can go ahead and see the art that he posts over at his Instagram at ArtTheOne. So go ahead and check that out. Friend of the show, Kyron, also he's been doing some photography. He has his Instagram Portraits by KA, I believe. Go ahead and support Kyron as well. Hopefully the photography has been going well. Kyron, we see some of the photos that you go ahead and you post, man, and yeah, just keep doing your thing. Lexi has a little update for us in Fandomion. She says that Fandomion let me know that they have some more new alternative merch, and they have some more alternative anime merch, like Chainsaw Man. All right. So any Chainsaw Man fans out there, they have some new merch, so you guys can go ahead and check out. Thank you so much, Lexi, for the updates. Again, for Fandomion guys, Lexi has that promo code LEX for 10% off of your discount. But back to the art talk. We also have friend of the show, Caesar, who is another very talented artist. His art is art_of_Caesar_. So that's Art of Caesar. Check it out, guys, over on Instagram. Man, he creates some incredible stuff. He's been doing a lot of Attack on Titan inspired art pieces as of late, and we love seeing him posting it. Man, so Vince, if you turn there, you see Venom, you see the Joker over there, right? There might be some other art around, like there's a Joker over here too. That's all Caesar.
This Joker right here?
Yeah, so whatever art you see there, that's kind of like the same. So if you look up top two, the shelf, there's Venom there, and then over on the right is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Is he at Frankenstein's?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been to his booth.
Really?
Been to his booth. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's so cool. Because I know Eddie has also met him too, because Eddie has been to a couple different, I think he was at an art walk he recently, and he saw Caesar, and they actually like bought each other's art, which was cool. The picture was them holding each other's art.
Sick.
Yeah. So that's so cool, man. You went over and you saw him.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I'm at Frankenstein's a lot. And
Yeah?
Yeah, dude. I love Frankenstein's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool spot, man. But boy, is it crowded.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know if you ever went to the first one, but it was worse.
Really?
It was just smaller.
I don't think I have.
Nah, dude.
That might be the only one I'm aware of.
I mean, I miss it. I miss the old, I miss the vibe of the old one.
Yeah.
It's the same thing essentially here, but nothing's ever gonna replace that first one.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking about with Death Note, it's just that first feeling.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You know, you wish you can go back and experience that first feeling again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Even with like I think about too certain like stores and all that or whatever, if there's like change of scenery or whatever, and it's like, damn, like, you know, it doesn't have that same feeling. But yeah, I've never experienced that. For me, it was just that one specific side where they're at currently over in like the City of Industry, right?
Yeah, it's where Albertsons used to be. Yeah. I mean, big ups to them. Definitely well needed space change.
Yeah,
because it's bigger.
How was parking over for that first one? Was it just a nightmare?
It sucked. It was horrible.
Oh man,
dude, you would park like half a mile away.
Let's see. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently, like 2 weeks ago, I went to Boston for a work trip.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you've ever been to Boston.
I think, I went when I was a kid.
Yeah. So being in the city, because Boston's not very big, but there's a lot to see in Boston. Everything is so like condensed. Like everything is like, they say, yeah, you can go ahead and just walk around and see everything in Boston. Because if you go ahead and if you're lucky enough to find parking in the city, you can just go ahead and walk and stuff. Like it'll be, you know, a good amount of miles, but you can go ahead and see what you got in the city.
That's cool.
And it's cool, but it's a nightmare, dude.
I bet.
So driving around, just think about like obviously LA, you know, and stuff and how crazy things can get. And just the traffic, the just bumper to bumper stuff, you know. Like I was there with my boss for this work trip and we just, you know, we had time to go and explore. So we're in the city and it's just, we made the mistake of like, we're there and like, damn, why are there so many people? And I look, I'm like, is there something going on? There was a Boston Celtics game going on.
Okay. So
you had everybody trying to go and make their way, right? And then once we get closer to, I think it's TD Garden is the where they play. You start seeing that and you're like, oh, okay. You start seeing a ton of people in Celtics jersey and stuff, you know, like, okay, and it makes sense. But dude, no patience, man. It's just, my boss is, as soon as it turns green, just like they're honking, and so it's crazy, man. But I don't know. Maybe it's just my anxiety or something, man. You know, like if you're describing this first place of Frankenstein's, if I go ahead and were to try to find parking, I don't know if I would commit to it.
There's definitely times where you're like, I'm just gonna go home.
I think that'd be me for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because even now thinking about the lot that they have, like they have a pretty large lot, but it still gets so packed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy.
And it gets to a certain point where after that, you can only park there for an hour, or they'll tow you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
But man, that's so cool that you were able to go ahead and I mean, so you're there a lot, so.
Yeah. But yeah, me and Marissa specifically went and checked out his booth because I think I saw like some Venom stuff. And I'm a big fan of Venom.
Dude, me too. You can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has his Etsy store. We have a link to it over on a link tree, and so if you guys are interested in any Caesar's art specifically, check out the link tree over in our Instagram at Attack the Talk podcast. You click that link, it'll take you to his Etsy store. He has, I think, like 20 pieces of art available on purchase there. There's some Venom pieces. There's some other different assorted anime stuff, as well as I think there's some like horror type art that he's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's super talented. Shout out to Caesar. Shout out to Eddie. We also have a friend in the show, Marco Momone. He also does art as well. Shout out to Marco. Go ahead and you can find him over at his Instagram, Marco Momone. And Marco is with a 0. So Marco 0, Marco Momone. Eddie says, AJ, Caesar told me that he met you because you got an art piece for your sister. That is correct. Yeah, I did. It is a giant framed Junji Ito piece.
Oh, nice.
I actually have it right here. I'll go ahead and I can go ahead and show everybody. The reason why it's here is because it's not going to fit in Lexi's dorm. I mean, it'll fit, but also because of how it's framed, Lexi would have to frame it to where she can't put like nails on the walls and stuff, and all that. But I'll go ahead and I'll show it so you guys can go ahead and see what exactly Eddie's talking about. Well, I go ahead and block Vince's view.
Damn, that's insane.
There goes Vince's camera. Okay.
That's sick. Damn.
You guys see that? Nope. This way. Is it this way? I'm blocking Vince, and can you see it though?
Yeah.
This is it, guys.
Oh yeah.
There it goes.
Heck yeah.
I'll find a way to go and put this thing back.
Just put it over here for now.
Yep, it's going here. Yeah. Shout out to Caesar for that beautiful piece of art there. Wow.
Arte.
Art de Juan.
Got me out of focus, dude.
You might have to go ahead and high five the camera. Usually what I do is I go ahead and I kind of just like point it at the camera.
Good.
Well, yeah, guys, that's the art piece that Eddie was referring to. Eddie says that I put his colossal titan on my skateboard, actually, and everyone looks at it and is like, whoa, what the hell is that? Hell yeah. Damn, that's awesome, dude. Like says, I can't hang it in my dorm. Not allowed to drill into the walls. Yeah. And then, and Eddie says, whoa, that's huge. What's next? Or what, AJ? Lexi is your sister? Yeah. Yeah. There it is. Breaking news. Yeah, that's Lexi's my sister. It's weird because we go ahead and we do the podcast and I don't think I ever talk about that, but there it is, Eddie. Lexi is my sister. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, but I want to finally say again, thank you all so much for the continuous support. Just keep spreading the word, guys. We'd love to have more friends join us. Remember, guys, you guys can look out for future Spotify or future Q&As. used to be Spotify exclusive, but now we moved them to our Instagram. So make sure you guys look out for future Q&As and future poll questions. We love it. We love it. We love talking about your guys' feedback. Remember, your guys' feedback is needed and much appreciated. Lexi says, oh, surprise. So shout out to the loyal listeners. Shout out to the Attack the Talks Levi Squad. This is what we refer to our day ones as, our Levi Squad. We were trying to come up with a name, but it's like, man, I don't want to call them our, Titan Warriors or our subjects of Ymir, or whatever. I'm trying to think of what it is. So I've just delegated them as that's our Levi Squad.
That's a good one.
So it made sense because they're all badasses.
Yeah.
And we appreciate their
no
support.
one just gets into Levi
Yeah,
Squad.
exactly. Nobody just gets into it. Anyway, that's so cool that new people join this podcast. Hell yeah. Shout out to the family.
That's right.
All right, guys. Finally, this is AJ, your host, just saying, please stay safe out there, guys. We love you guys. Spread that positivity. And you guys know the cliche saying, but we say it every single time, guys. We hate hates. We love love. So this is AJ again. This is Vince. Vince, you want to go ahead and say bye?
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Let's
It's
do
been
it again.
cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining again. And if you guys want to see Vince again, make sure you guys go ahead and follow. I'm kidding. Yeah, we'll get Vince back over on the pod for sure. You got to watch that episode.
Yeah,
man.
I'll be caught up
I know
by
you're
then.
waiting. I know you're waiting for dubbed.
I might just give in. Stop being a weenie. Just watch it.
Do what me and Lexi do. We go ahead and we watch it just for the sake of seeing it, right? Of how the story unfolds. But I think you're also gonna appreciate when it's dubbed. Because you're gonna watch it when it's subbed, you're gonna be like, oh man, this is gonna sound so good if a certain character says it,
Yeah.
But also, man, there's so much that we could have said more. I didn't want to go ahead and spoil anything for you,
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, you got to go ahead and watch it, man.
Down. I'm gonna do it.
All right, so that's Vince. This is AJ. It's a lot of fun, guys. Make sure you guys go ahead and support Vince and his band, GAPE. You guys go ahead and find him over at his Instagram, Hug Yourself. And if you guys want to listen to his music, that is at Bandcamp. Right, check it out, guys. Look for it, GAPE. So thank you so much again, guys, for all of your support. We love you guys, and we're out of here. All right,
Peace
signing
out.
off. See you guys next week. Bye.